Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis. It's the Comic Roundtable. We've got people on. It's not just me and Rez. This long lost guy. We found him wandering around. We decided we'd let him come back. How's it going, Mike?
It's going well. I do apologize. I know that I violated your no pants treaty and was banned for 4 months, so I'm back.
Yeah, right on. Good to have Sergeant America back. We're gonna talk some comics. Well, I'm gonna pick his brain on some Marvel stuff that's going on. Tonight he's our Marvel reader, since I've got one Marvel comic and Rez hasn't read any Marvel comics. So, we're gonna jump right into Marvel first. We're gonna talk some Marvel books. I'm gonna let you go first, Mike. Pick a book. Pick Thor. Do Thor right now, so we know if the internet crashes. Because every time Mike's on it's a Thor issue. Mike starts to talk and it all falls apart. So,
yep. So with my Thor, hopefully everything is coming through smooth. Jane Foster, of course, is still doing an amazing job as Thor. She is battling the gods of the Shi'ar, and this has still been going on and on and on. They've been doing like plagues and destroying planets, and she's trying to save everybody, and it's been very good. They kind of jump into this where it's Quentin Quire is on Krakatoa, the island that's also a mutant, and Jane shows up, and it's a couple students from the Jean Grey school that's with her, Gladiator's son, and they need Quentin Quire's help, and they don't explain to you why until it's kind of flash forward, flashback. Jason Aaron's does a lot of that. It's Dodderman's art, so of course it's just beautiful. All I do is just look at the pictures, let the art go wherever. But with the story, it ends up that they need Quentin Quire because the two Shi'ar gods have been beaten by all the Asgardian gods, and they call upon their last sister, and their last sister is the Phoenix Force.
Oh.
Yeah. And with that, evidently, Quentin Quire, which I'm not following the X-Men storyline, is supposed to be able to take over or control the Phoenix Force somewhere in the future. And he knows that, and several other X-Men know that, but they just have to get to that future, which, of course, so many divergent ideas on how the future works and everything like that. So it was really pretty good. It was the idea of, the gods must battle the gods, and now Quentin Quire has to save them. So this will be interesting to see how this goes in the future.
So, so in the future but he can't control the Phoenix Force now, though, right?
That's the thing they're trying to figure out. They grabbed him because they're hoping so, but he's just like, we know that sometime in the future, if we ever get to that future, I control the Phoenix Force. So, of course, I'm lost because I'm not deep in my X-Men lore anymore.
Sure. Huh, interesting.
Yep.
So, Thor, does it feel like the story's going to keep going?
Yeah. I mean, I saw some hinted at art because of the Secret Empire, which could mess up with it. But I think the next issue is going to have Jane Foster, Odin's son, who comes back after the Unworthy, and then the third one is going to be the Ultimate Thor. So I think from the Ultimate Universe, but it didn't look like him, so it may just be like one of Dodderman's ideas of the three Thor, like King Thor, Young Thor, regular Thor.
Right.
So I can't wait to see what Dodderman does. He seems to have a huge breadth of how he wants to do Thor. And I think that's his baby that he's really enjoying in the Marvel Universe. So it's been going great. I could continue to read the same storyline even if it doesn't progress.
Cool. So it doesn't look like any of them are going to show up as like, part of the Aryan race or Nazis or Hail Hydrian or anything like that.
No, but there's some hintings like that somebody could lose one of the hammers. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Right on. Like I said, I only have one Marvel book.
All right.
And it's Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
You're reading Hulk, right?
Yes, I am.
issue number 5. So we get a little bit of kind of a flashback in this one to, her being hospitalized and people, Carol, Captain Marvel coming to visit her, and clearly awkward situation and whatnot. The story is written a lot of Jen internalizing. She's talking to herself a lot, narrating to herself about how she's getting through the day and how things have changed and all that sort of stuff. And then while that's all happening, of course, we have our shut-in woman who has some entity thing that's been living in her house with her that is like taking over the neighborhood. Other tenants in the building, it looks like. Either they've accepted this thing in to help them out. It's going to protect them all. It looks sinister as heck. It, creates these monsters around them and whatnot. And it looks like it's going to force Jennifer to Hulk out. And she doesn't want to Hulk out because it looks like when one of the flashbacks to the hospital, she does Hulk out, but she Hulks out gray. She's not green anymore. Yep. And it's kind of some interesting lines in there about it all went gray. What else can I say? That's all there is about it, kind of a thing. And you kind of get the impression that maybe her being a Gray Hulk, she doesn't have the same kind of control, maybe, that she had before. Because that's the one thing that was difference between She-Hulk and Bruce Banner is she got to be, not as big and hulky, but definitely big and hulky and still be herself. I mean, she, kept her base personality. So maybe she doesn't. So, I don't know, what do you think, Mike?
I wonder if the gray is supposed to be a representation of her mental state, that because she lost control, she's gray. Because like you mentioned, throughout all of her other books, she's been the super smart lawyer who's always been, she always wanted to be the big green Hulk. I remember old issues, she hated being just regular Jen. I was also trying to figure out if there are multiple creatures or if it's the building itself is making manifestations, because there was like all different colors, like each person seemed to have their own. It was very interesting to see, how that was kind of interacting with her. But yeah, I was also surprised, like when she hulks out on the aircraft carrier, they also don't show her, or in the hospital, they don't show her being gray. They still keep her in the shadows.
That is true.
So it does make me wonder a little bit more, like why he's hiding it, because she's, gray on every color. And then, of course, at the very last one where they show the flash of green,
right,
to kind of symbolize the transition. I just like it. As a meathead who picked this up to see Jen turn into a Hulk, I didn't need it. It was excellent just for the storyline.
Yeah, and you're right. It does kind of hint that maybe it's green, because you get this great green stripe of light as the monster is bearing down on her, and then of course that last page of her eyes going green as she's. So yeah, and you're right. They keep her way deep in the shadows when they show her at the hospital. You don't see. She just says that she's gray. So my assumption is that she was a Gray Hulk, because of course when they've shown her on the covers hulking, which I know some people get offended by the fact that the covers are teases. We never actually get this. I still think the cover looks freaking cool though. Yeah, she's gray.
Well, and also though in here, you see her as gray or the green.
Right.
Very first page.
Yeah.
So it does it plays around with the idea. I don't know how much the writer is teasing us. So.
Right. I'm really enjoying it, because I'm enjoying this kind that clearly it's some PSD stuff going on with Bruce Banner, having been killed, her almost being killed, and I like that. I like listening to her talk in her head, this kind of stuff and whatnot, because it's kind of it's quirky. It's kind of odd stuff that you would assume someone might do to try and talk themselves down from stuff like her. The prior issues where she starts to get her panic attack. She starts watching cooking shows because that she can center herself watching a cooking show and whatnot. So while she's freaking out, almost hulking out, in the background, there's all this dialogue of somebody, making scones or something and whatnot. I find that entertaining, I guess. So I've really been enjoying it. So
and it's an atypical storyline for a Marvel book.
Right. Because it's not a lot of action. I mean, there's been a few right. moments. It's getting exciting now, but this is issue 5, and the monster's really is now really raising its head, and she's actually in a dangerous place and whatnot. So yeah, for sure.
The only other thing I wondered about is when she hulks out in the hospital, they say something, I believe, about getting George. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a reference that we were supposed to know. So
I don't know who George would be.
Yeah,
it's not like Red Hulk isn't George, right? I mean, I was trying to think if they're on their big superheroes.
Yeah, Leonard Samson. I mean, I was trying to think of other people that had the Hulk, but the fact they used a name made me think that that's supposed to be important for something.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know a lot of other people that are reading it. There's nobody in the comments currently, but if somebody has a bigger breadth on the Marvel, maybe we're missing that we don't know who George is, that somehow George is somebody that we would know if we were reading S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, or I don't know, So, yeah. What else you got?
The infamous Iron Man. This has just been a very excellent story that I've loved. With Bendis writing, and I know Bendis is hit and miss for a lot of people, but the Maleev art in this has been really nice also. The idea on this is, the problem is it's Doctor Doom as Iron Man. He truly wants to be a hero as far as we can tell, but this is a story that we've seen several times where he continually tries to fool the heroes by, I've been reformed, once his face is all healed, he becomes a good guy again. But this one, it really truly seems like he wants to do good. He's trying to be a hero. But the problem is he doesn't instinctually know how to. He's seen it all of his life. So he'll do things like he'll destroy some robots, but then he remembers, oh, I got to save the 2 kids that were in the robot factory. I can't just walk away and hope that they leave and are fine. So, I mean, it's all the things. He encounters Ben Grimm in this one, and he's in Ben Grimm's home. So the Thing walks in, and he's like, first off, keep in mind, if you direct the place, you'll injure the people around you, so don't do it, Ben. So it was really good to see that. And then he's like, he goes, I want to apologize to you. I'm sorry for everything I've done. I'm sorry about I'm sorry about Sue and Reed. And, so we still don't know what happened to them, if they know about Secret Wars or anything like that. So it's interesting to see this verge on him being a hero. It also starts out that the Wizard has all the bad guys assembled, which I know artists love to do, the big picture of everybody crammed into a room. And they're like, all right, I'm here to warn everybody. Doctor Doom is a good guy, and he is out here to obliterate us. And as he's telling this to everybody, the Hood shows up, and he's like, all right, so this is what we're going to do. We're all going to get together. And it's like, Hood, we've heard you do this before. No, this isn't going to work. Doom shows up. He starts tearing into them. The Wrecker is the only one to get away. He gets to the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier. He's all, strapped in and everything. They're questioning him. And he's like, I'm the only one that's alive. Doom killed everybody. And he's telling the story about him being shot. And the best part has to be, so Ben walks in and he says, they all survived. Doom just beat him as much as he could, but everybody's alive and you just turned yourself in for no reason. So it was good. I mean, I just love this idea. Can Doom ever be the redeemed hero? Great storyline.
Yeah, cool. I like those kinds of stories. I mean, that's one of the reasons I really like the Secret Six so much is, watching the bad guys try to be the good guys. Yeah, cool.
And what's good too is, I mean, as he touches everybody's lives, of course, all the bad stuff is still there.
Oh, sure.
So people still try to attack, or the government comes in and wants to question the girl he likes, or Ben Grimm the Thing does not care. He goes, I don't care if you are a white knight. I'm going to beat you into the ground till you can't walk anymore. So it's just good because of the grudges and everything.
Sure. So, right on. Cool.
Along those same lines, Elektra. This is issue number 3. I twittered out some of the artwork that Cabal did. It's just beautiful. I mean, I love this book for that art. The storyline's great too. She's stuck in Vegas. Arcade is there. He has Murder World. He's got everybody. He's got her and like 4 other people trapped. Like one's a boxer, one is this overweight playboy. He looks like almost Chris Foley from Saturday Night Live when he did the Chippendale.
Sure.
And he's a reality TV star from a Bachelor series. What it shows is that, Arcade's trying to, have all these people battle for their lives, and pretty much Elektra's the only one that's going to survive this. She's watching people slowly die, but it keeps flashing back to encounters between her and Daredevil. And Daredevil's like, remember, we're going to try and take down these people, but keep them alive. And she is at the point where she does it his way, but it doesn't work. She gets to a shipping container, opens it up, and all the human trafficking people are dead. And at that point, she says, I'm going to kill them all. And so she is entered into, Vegas, and I think she wants to take out some crime bosses and just start wiping out bad guys. So this is an interesting story on, did Daredevil touch her heart? Is she going to change? Or is she going to slaughter them all because of this? It ends with her still in Murder World with now a bomb around her neck, and she's got 30 minutes to beat the boss of Murder World. So I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to run for, if it's going to go a full 12 issues or what. But I mean, it seems like it could wrap up quickly if he wants, but after a trade's worth of Murder World, I'm not sure where they would go next.
Right. I didn't pick that up because I was just apprehensive that it was going to start reflecting the Daredevil Netflix show. So
yeah, and I could see that. I mean, there was the change in outfit that we saw,
right?
But then when you get back to the she does flashbacks to the here we go, try to get that in there. That beautiful artwork, the flashbacks of her old outfit, and I think that's to signify there is a change, but I don't know what the full change is yet.
Yeah, cool.
The very last one I want to mention is from last week, is Nick Fury. This is Robertson writing it in ACO art.
I hear the art is awesome.
Yeah, and that's the only thing is, I mean, we talked about it before with Midnighter. How long can ACO run issue after issue? But I'll stick with it as long as he can. So, I mean, I'm picking it up. It is like if Sam Nee's run on Black Widow. It's that one spy versus a whole organization. Because Nick Fury against Hydra. He's got all the toys. He's got all that. But this one is definitely more the meathead version. It's not as subtle in its workings. It's not as sneaky as Natasha does it. I mean, Nick Fury has the watch that sets off all the alarms, the eye patch that has it's as expensive as an aircraft carrier because it's got all this extra things to it.
Right.
It's over the top, but otherwise it's almost like the Black Widow book.
Ah, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Tempted. I was tempted, but I don't think he's going to be on it for very long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And then it kind of depends. And then it kind of depends on who replaces him. I mean, Midnighter, it wasn't too bad for a while. The replacement didn't try to totally fake like they were him, but still held some of the same design concepts, so it wasn't too bad. But you could still, truly tell the difference between between artists. That's for sure. So
yeah. I mean, when you get pages like this with just that kind of amazing work, I think they are relying a lot on the artwork. So that's why I could see this also be a very short run.
Yeah. Jocko is referring to it as Steranko on steroids. and it was the colors are crazy, which is awesome because those old Steranko Fury books are just incredible too. There's no doubt. I mean, that would be the reason to get those is for the art for sure. So cool. Any other Marvel books?
That is it.
Okay, so haven't we got a chance really because usually just me and Rez and we've had the Marvel's been announcing more kind of stuff and whatnot, and we got this whole big legacy thing that's kind of been floated out there. And I don't know how much information has been put out about it because I haven't seen a whole lot other than kind of we're going back to the old. There's been a hint that they're going to go back to the old numbering and a lot of this kind of stuff. And I mean, and of course, I can take the route of the DC fanboy and snicker and go, oh, this is just rebirth, Marvel version of it, whatever. But I'm not going to do that. But I will, as a old man comic book reader, have some level of cynicism. I don't know. I'm just not. I want to be excited about it because I would love for this to be the opportunity for a whole bunch of cool new stuff to come rolling out or whatever for me to dive into. But right now, anyway, it doesn't feel like we've been given enough for me to either, one, to be excited about it, two, they're doing this to supposedly kind of fix all their problems that they think they have. And I don't know if they've floated anything really telling us that that's what's going to happen, because they've also kind of put out a laundry list of the things they think are broken. And the things that I think are broken anyway, and of course, it's just my opinion, they aren't fixing. I mean, nothing about that has changed. And the things that I think are broken, I think DC's doing a lot of those same problems too. It's not like I'm just picking on Marvel for the broken stuff, because DC is really starting to feel like it's going down the same path as far as some of the stuff, like the event books that are, coming out our ears and the crossovers and all the kind of stuff. Whatnot. Do you have any kind of sense about it at all, Mike? I mean, any feeling? I mean, my first thought is in the last 3 weeks, I have had 4 books. I believe 4 books end.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anything that I've heard they're talking about that I'm actually interested in. I'm a bit nervous about, as a matter of fact, about anything that starts like in the next month or two, because when does the legacy thing start? Do you have any idea?
No, I think this is also, like you mentioned, one of their worst launches, or whatever you want to call it. They're hoping that you fill in all the gaps of information with what you want so that you buy it. To me is what I'm seeing, because they're not saying this is what it is and this is how it's going to go. It's kind of, like, here's a little bit of information, and I think they really want us to say, oh, it's going to be this, and I'm going to jump on this stuff for that reason.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And clearly you're not getting Secret Empire.
All right. Anything with Sorrentino art, yes, I am. I said I wasn't going to, but Sorrentino's been pumping out a bunch of stuff that he says he's doing, but I can't figure out if it's the main book or if it's something else.
Okay. Because it kind of hinted that, they kind of said that this is the last event for a while.
Yeah.
Depending on how you define event.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like, though, too. So I did, like I said, I just kind of I was going to pick up Spectacular Spider-Man. Chip Zdarsky is going to be writing, and I thought, well, I'll give that a shot, because it's supposed to be kind of harken back to old school, Spider-Man. I used to read Spectacular Spider-Man back in the day. And I thought, well, I'll jump on that. And this month was the month I would order it. It's come out in solicitations for me to order it in advance, and I decided not to, just because of the whole kind of stuff that's kind of going on. Because I was just concerned that we'd get 2 or 3 issues in, and then it would get legacied or whatever. I don't know. You kind of a thing. I don't know what that. I'm more apprehensive than I am excited at this point. It just feels kind of like we don't know. And then if you're right that they're just kind of putting it out there, letting us imagine, fill in the blanks, and get excited over something that doesn't exist, that seems like a frightening business strategy, kind of a deal. So I guess I'm kind of holding up on anything new until I know more.
Yeah. And I believe it's exactly like you said. I think they don't know the things that are truly wrong with the business right now, or why their books aren't selling, or they want to hang it on whatever scapegoats.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem. You know, they don't want to just listen to people and see why. I have quite a few books, but most of those I pulled off the wall. They're not actually in my poll
Yeah.
because I keep, like you, I'm fearful that, like I said, ACO, some of these great artists that are on these books, I'm going to get it on my poll and then they're going to be gone. And then I'm stuck with 2 or 3 junk issues and then maybe ACO comes back. I just want the good issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And until Marvel can promise me that some of these people are going to stay on books, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's all part of the how hard is it to put out a monthly book consistently. That's it's a lot harder than I think a lot of us realize. I think that's why we get the fill-in artists and those kinds of things. So I'm looking at Jockio because he's my person in the audience that's my Marvel guy. He's saying that Secret Empires ends in August, and I think September is Generations, and then Legacy is October or November. I was thinking it was a ways out. So, you know, I mean, who knows? I mean, I guess I just remember it seems like I picked up some books. One of the last kind of changes that either the Marvel Now or the Marvel, whatever was before this latest Now, whatever that was, it seemed like I was starting to read something and all of a sudden the brakes got put on it and it restarted again, which I find frustrating, or it just ended because they, you know, chose to, it wasn't selling well enough or whatever. They chose to go in a different direction. And I'm kind of apprehensive that that's what's potentially going to happen, you know, with this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I do know that your Miss Marvel, I remembered, and your Spider-Man, or Spider-Woman, sorry. Both of those got cut because of Secret Wars.
Right.
And then they resumed, but I know you mentioned that was kind of the shake-up period.
Right. And so, you know, and I guess, yeah, I just don't know. I mean, it's one of those kind of, you know, yeah, as much as I joke, I do pick on Marvel, there's no doubt about it. I want to be successful and I want to read good comics, and I'd happily read good comics from them as from anybody else. I mean, I think that some of their big issues are they find something that's good and then they super saturate the market with a lot of knockoffs or whatever. Or if the Avengers book is good, let's have 6 Avenger books. The X-Men book is good, let's have, you know, 7, 8 X-Men book. And that's a problem that DC has. The DC needs to figure their shit out because there's too many Batman books and there's too many Superman books. I mean, that's, you know, half the line are those books. And even as a fan, you can only read so many of them. And when we start, I mean, we get into some of the DC stuff, not this week so much, but last week, because I read a lot of DC stuff. Last week, I was really feeling kind of bummed about Superman books and Batman books because I read so many of them. And especially in the case like Superman, they had this little crossover thing with Superman Reborn. I didn't get all of it, but it affected all of my side books, all of the kind of monthly books that aren't directly tied to Superman, but, you know, the Superwoman, you know, some of those books all got messed up for a couple months, longer than the regular books did. So, you know, I don't know. I just, and what do you think about the renumbering? If they go back to the old numbers, I don't know how they're going to do that, because how do you go back to the old numbers of X-Men? Because X-Men are 2 different books now. Are they going to convert one of them back to Uncanny and go back to whatever number it is? And I mean, I know that Action Comics for DC, Action Comics and Detective Comics went back to their original numbering because they're like the classic superhero comic, right? I mean, from way back. So I was kind of cool with them going back to the numbering, but it is a mess. If you're trying to collect Detective Comics or Action Comics, you're collecting along up to 300 or whatever, and then all of a sudden it stops, and then it suddenly loses, you know, 3 years worth of comics, 4 years of the comics, and then suddenly it's back again at this number. It's not, I don't know. To me, that's going to be weird if suddenly some of these books suddenly go back to being whatever they are. I mean, some of them I think will be cool. If they go back to one Captain America book and it goes back to its, I don't know how does it go back to its original numbering, because it's had a couple volumes, hasn't it? I mean, isn't Captain America like on volume 7 or 8 now?
Yes, yeah. And I don't know. I know John on Demand is a big guy about continuity, and I do like continuity too. It's the one thing that we can hold as the thing that makes us the all knowledge of these
Sure.
books. But I think sometimes that is what ruins or hampers a lot of new books. Or, I don't see Marvel doing short runs, 6 issues of this idea or that idea
Yeah.
that I see DC does. And I mean, I really like that. I really like some Elseworld stories or something where it's just give me 6 good issues that you don't have to worry, like if you start on one and it doesn't reach your magic number on what you want, that all of a sudden, like Unworthy, that was it. Unworthy Thor was the last one I saw. I loved it, but it didn't reach some magic numbers, and then they lose their artist, and I almost thought they were just going to stop it before we even got to where it needed to be.
Well, that does happen.
Yes, yeah,
that
it does
happen. I mean, there's a DC miniseries that was out that just stopped at issue 3. It's supposed to be 6 issues. Issue 3, It's done. We'll never see any more of it. Yeah. I mean, even though there's probably art in the can, they're not even going to bother to print it. Like I mean, I get it. It's sales. If it's not making money, then you can't throw money at something that isn't. But it's a bummer. I don't know. I know, like I said, you pay attention to a lot of Marvel stuff and whatnot. I want to kind of get your take on it. I haven't really got to talk a whole lot to people about, what it is. Everything I can say is anecdotal, my own personal feelings and my little piece of like the Twitter internet that I pay attention to. Most of us are kind of going, ooh, and some of the people are going, ooh, are huge Marvel fans. I mean, that, up until recently, 99% of their pull is a whole bunch of Marvel books, and they're all kind of going, ooh, what's this going to be? So I don't know. And maybe we'll get more as it gets closer. We get past the, Secret Empire, that all those shenanigans.
Like you said, wherever the dollars land too. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Hopefully they get somebody in that's going to right the ship in some way. Some of the stuff that they've said publicly, I hope they don't truly believe that that's their problem. That they really look at the whole picture and you do a little more refocusing. I'm not 100% set. Like I said, what does legacy mean? Does that mean they're going to go back to all the old stuff? That's good and bad. I think, because there's some. I mean, does that mean the new stuff's going away? Because I read a lot of new stuff, so I don't know. Anyway, throw that into any other kind of Marvel kind of news. I think I'm almost at the halfway point of watching Iron Fist.
Okay.
I don't hate it. I know a lot of people hate it, but it is very dry.
Yeah.
It is very dry and very plodding along. Like I said, I don't hate it. And I feel like I need to watch it because I'm excited for the Defenders thing that's coming. So I want to get a sense of who the Netflix version of Danny Rand is. But
I think the Defenders, though, is just going to be 8 episodes as opposed to the 13 format.
Oh, okay.
So that might be better. I mean, maybe they know they needed a shortened storyline. So
yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy. Is it out in Europe now?
I do not know about that. I know that
here?
This Thursday, because this Thursday I got a ticket for my comic book shop.
Okay, so it must be out in Europe because I'm pretty sure I saw La Raza. Go check her channel out if you don't watch La Raza's channel. You should be. I'm almost positive I saw her on Twitter saying, "Woo!"
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Yay! Me personally, I'll see it on Netflix when it comes out. Guardians of the Galaxy was my least favorite of all the Marvel movies that have come out to date.
All right.
So I know everybody can hate me. More thumbs down on my channel. I know.
Well, my wife's a huge fan of it. We're gonna go see it the Sunday after Thursday, but the comic book shop guys all got together. We're going with the shop, on Thursday, 7:00. So.
Sweet. That's cool. That's cool. Like I was talking about John, because John was talking about that. I'm assuming the same comic book shop, John Demand. Yeah. That's cool that your comic book shop basically buys the theater, for a showing, and then sells the tickets to their customers. That's cool. That's really cool. All righty. Any other Marvel things we want to talk about?
Nope.
Okay. we'll go on to DC just to talk the other superhero books and get them out of the way then.
Sure.
So, alrighty. I read a couple DC books this week. Right off the bat, I am paying attention to the comments. Carlos is saying that his Superman video is up explaining Superman Reborn. So after this is done, that's what I'll be going to do, is to watch that, because I was on Twitter kind of complaining about the fact that Superman has changed since this whole Reborn thing. It's not the Superman that I was reading before. And with the change, he doesn't seem like the same person. And it's been kind of, it's been uncomfortable for me to read. It's bugging me. So I want somebody to explain it to me. So I'm looking forward to watching his videos. Anybody else who's curious about the whole Superman things? Carlos is big time Superman reader. So we'll check out what Carlos
Infante. Is that right?
Yes, right. We'll check out what his has. So I am looking forward to that, because I have lots of questions. So, alrighty. Rez, you wanna you got at least one DC book read, right?
Oh yeah, I have a few.
What do you want to talk?
What's my most favorite title?
Doom Patrol.
Yes. You know, I love me some Doom Patrol. This is crazy, wasn't it? Oh, that's a nice cover.
Yeah, that's the variant.
Kinda curved. Or
Yeah, it's just kind of strange. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
I
don't know if those are supposed to be knee pads or are they pills. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that though. It looks like a fusion of different artists, you know. But yeah, I really like this issue where we see that apparently Danny is having some kind of illness, like that's taken over him, and he's having trouble functioning the way he usually functions. And you know, we still have Casey and the team. You know, the guy that rides alongside her. Well, he's tagged along with them from last issue, and they're pretty much trying to save people. And I think somehow they transplanted to this one part or one planet where this one woman, what's her name, Stacy, I think, or where she has like 60 different versions of herself, and she's trying to implant Jane. Yeah, she's trying to implant different versions of herself into other people so that this one doctor who's evil, and then they're gonna blow themselves up.
Well, the doctor is her too. See,
yeah,
Jane suffers from like a bajillion split personalities, and so she's gonna put all the personalities all over the place so she can get rid of. That's how she thinks she's gonna fix herself. One of her personalities has decided that that's the way they're gonna fix herself, is by planting in all these people and then basically blowing them all up, killing all the multiple personalities, and then she'll just have one.
I honestly feel like this is where M. Night Shyamalan got his idea for Split.
Yeah.
After reading this, but yeah, I really did enjoy this issue, even though it kind of seemed a little kookier than, because of the whole introduction of Jane and all the personalities and her theory on if getting rid of a lot of them, then it would be only her. And then she said something about how she wanted Cliff to join her in this transplanting his memories or his brain into someone else so that they could be together forever, because he was, you know, having this one poignant moment with her when he was chatting with her, and he was like, you know I left you, I'm sorry about that, but sometimes, you know, me being in this metal body, it's hard for me to connect the way I used to when I was human. My brain still tells me how to feel. It still helps me relay on how to truly feel. And I really love that, because it did bring us back from the kookiness into that one poignant moment between her and Cliff. And then we see that there was one little nugget at the end that I loved too. I know I'm skipping, but that one girl, Nun, the roommate, when she was pitching this additive meat to the executives that was like all this, you know, gluten-free, organic, all this stuff, and then they're like, you know, she's like, you won't believe what it's called. I have a feeling it's Danny meat. I don't know why. I just have a feeling.
Well, right, that she's basically, it's not right. She's doing exactly what the guys they're running from did. right? Because they were grinding Danny up and making burgers out of him.
Exactly.
And, right.
So that's why I know I'm jumping the gun there because they didn't say that, but that's why I really I totally got that. Like it felt like it was right. It hit me as soon as I saw her pitching this meat. I was like, that's Danny. That is so Danny. Like, and I'm like, Danny's
right, but it was also kind of surprising because we get introduced this character in like the first issue, and she's like the new roommate. She seems like she's just rolling.
I never trusted her.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's just me, I guess. I'm like, okay, she's cool. We're gonna roll with her and whatnot. Here's what I think about this issue. I really liked it, but this issue I felt like really relied a lot more on you knowing the Grant Morrison Doom Patrol.
You know what? You know, I still have not finished my Grant Morrison Doom Patrol yet. You know, it's a huge as omnibus. But let me tell you, I didn't feel that way when I read this. And I mean, I feel like I get what's going on. I don't feel like I'm lost and confused. But you know what? I mean, I guess it would help to read
the Jane stuff. I think is more solid knowing the Grant Morrison run than not having ever read that. Because otherwise, you're just like, what? I would think.
I can see what you mean. I mean, I guess when I read, I just look at the book as being so kooky and strange that there are going to be things that are not explained to me. And I think that anybody who jumps into this will feel that way. But yeah, if you're right. If they read the omnibus, then they're like, okay, I know what everything is. I feel complete. It doesn't feel as crazy and weird.
Oh, it's still strange, okay. but it feels. But to me, it feels like you're not totally out in the deep water without anything. But I mean, that's the book's going to be that way. There's going to be stuff that's just kind of thrown at us, and I think we'll get answered at some point, but it may be a long time down the road before we.
I'm still waiting for that kingdom thing to happen, like for that to be explained. Like I want to know what the Lion King thing and all the death.
That first issue where they're dead by the throne and all that stuff. Yeah, right.
I'm glad we got to explain that little boy who worships like the devil, or he's like a Satanist or something. Like I'm really glad we learned that lady was his mother, and that somehow she got absorbed into that whole cult.
Right.
That Jane developed. Yeah, I'm glad we got us there, you know.
Right. So I said I really enjoyed the issue. I think it's a lot of fun. A lot of nutsy stuff goes on in it. Of course, who knows when we're gonna get the next issue? This was the end of this chapter. I know that this issue was delayed, and they're gonna wait until they have some in the can before they go.
My heart went out.
I know. Well, it's Doom Patrol. I love Doom Patrol.
You know, I love that.
But I want a good book. I mean, I'd rather them wait and get it right than get 10 artists on the book and just kind of slap something together. So I guess I'm excited because it feels like we kind of ended a thing. They survived this whole thing. Danny does survive the whole escape from the people who are basically taking Danny Land and grinding it up into burgers.
Oh, Danny, man. He just suffered.
Right. And so now it kind of feels like the team's together. So now I think we can now maybe get adventures of them going out to deal with whatever thing comes up and stuff. So, well, like I said, I really enjoyed it. But for me, it's not really felt like I felt like that I needed to have known that other Doom Patrol stuff to kind of get the book and enjoy the book and roll with it. But this issue, for me, it really did kind of feel like that Jane part, knowing that Grant Morrison run, her trying to split her personalities up into all these other people, push her psyche into all these other people, and then blow them up with a bomb. Just makes perfect sense if you know the character from the Morrison run, because she's tormented by all these split personalities and really wants to get rid of them, kind of a thing. But one of her personalities is like, no, I don't want to do that. I rather go to therapy. Therapy would be better than what we're trying to do here. So, but I really dig it. The one thing that wasn't in this issue I was bummed about, we don't get those single pages of Niles. The chief doing something weird, like playing the organ or all the weird.
Oh yeah.
Almost every issue's got one page of him that just seems really out there, of him just kind of doing something strange. And so I kind of missed that, but still really digging it.
You know what? There was one moment in there too when Casey was trying to hurry up and get out of that one place after the explosion. I was trying to figure out charred, like she looked charred and like she got, you know, like some burns, some third-degree burns there. And then mysteriously, the next few panels, she was just fine. Like nothing happened. I mean,
well, because there's two versions, right? Because there's two versions of her. Because she's racing against herself.
What do you mean? Like, I mean, there's an evil one, and there's but this is not the evil one.
So, yeah. So this is our Casey. Our Casey puts the hood on, the racing hood with the things on her nose. That's the good Casey. The one that's burnt up is the evil, crazy Casey that Danny made, that his fear made. She's the charred and burnt up one.
Oh, I thought that was the same Casey, obviously.
As they're racing together, they're basically both racing together, both trying to catch each other and do this. I love this page, by the way. That's a great page. You know, them racing here. You get this as they're speeding up. They're getting more and more energy as they're burning up, and the evil one blows up. She doesn't have, you know, she falls apart and gets obliterated and whatnot. But yeah, that's the burnt up one. Okay,
I see. I was looking at those panels and I thought it was Casey. I don't know why I interpret it as Casey trying to kill Casey.
Yeah. Well, it was evil Casey trying to take her out. I mean, but see right here, there she is, and she puts on her mask. That's the easiest way to tell them apart. So then when they're racing, our Casey, the good Casey for the comic, is wearing the mask, and they crashes, and they crash out in the middle of the desert. I
guess that ultimately wasn't wrong because it was Casey.
Yeah, it was. It just wasn't.
It wasn't the Casey.
Right. It was evil, nasty, paranoid Casey, as opposed to good, out to help the world Casey. But fun stuff. Mike, what'd you pick up DC wise?
Well, if we're talking young animals, Mother Panic.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
You know, this one is definitely it stands alone. I mean, I know they kind of wanted it to, you know, be in Gotham. There's the touch of Batman, but even if both those things were gone, I think this is a strong enough story that it's been very good. Even with the change of art, I've still thought this has been an amazing book. Mm-hmm. While reading this one, though, I remembered 2 weeks ago, or well, about a month ago then, when you were talking about the last issue, I think those little pictures that didn't make sense anywhere else, which I don't remember seeing any in this one. I was wondering if it has to do with the artist, if it has to do with the villain who is the artist, the muse, if that's part of her artwork. And so we can only see little segments of it because it's so ghastly.
Could be. That could be the case. I was trying to decide while reading this issue if, where is it at? Let's see if I can find it. Where there some of this stuff, I mean, like, you know, I mean, I know he's having a memory here of their time at the house and stuff, but I don't know if this is Sean Crystal's interpretation of that same sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
I wasn't 100% sure of that. And, you know, here where he's having the trauma, except this is him having his own. So I don't think that's the case because it all matches up to his.
Yes.
But there's one in here of like the stuff grabbing at her. And I mean, I know it's her dream, but I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. So it could be the case, but the last issue didn't have the that artist in it. Galia, right? Her name is Galia.
Correct.
It didn't have her in it. So I don't know. I mean, that's a cool idea, Mike, but I don't know that I think that's the case because she wasn't in that issue. So I'm not sure why that would be. It just feels like with this issue that maybe they dropped it because it's not a Sean Crystal thing. It's a Lee Edwards, his artistic as the artist that's telling the story. It's his thing to do, maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. The other thing is, since we're talking about the art, the female faces, and then our beautiful man. The style, it was getting a little too close to each other, so I was having a little difficulty. And the fight that they have in Mother Panic's castle with the cane, I can't really tell like what he was doing. Like, did she trip over the cane? Did he swing the cane down around and hit her in the leg? I was having difficulty with some of the action part of this.
Yeah, this whole tipped back as they're talking about. You know, here's this. Yeah, and suddenly she's flipped. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. That wasn't a good action sequence. Rez, what you think?
To be honest, I think this is one of my least favorite issues. I mean, and I did like the art previously because it's by the same person, I guess the guest artist. But this issue, for some reason, like Sarge said, it just didn't match up. Like for some reason, I was kind of confusing the male's face with the female's face. Characteristics and the features look very similar. Then I felt like, yeah, the action sequences didn't really play out very well for me. And I kind of got lost in it. I was like, oh, I don't care anymore. I mean, I just dipped out of it really quickly after I saw that happening. The best that I've seen so far with Mother Panic. I did like seeing this one character that is one sinister character more, but I still don't feel like I know him very well. Like I know that he obviously wanted this woman to operate on him to kind of change him back into who he was prior to that one house. That trained him and Violet, but who this guy is. And then there also is one moment where we're seeing Violet being watched from afar, essentially. But who was doing that? Was it?
That's him. Yeah. It was Mr. Beautiful. He's following her around because he doesn't think his business with her is done. You know, she's like, yeah, I know you're damaged goods, just like I'm damaged goods. Last issue, she's like, I don't want anything to do with you anymore, kind of a thing. We've done our thing together. Now we're going our separate ways, except he's not, because clearly he's still hung up. You know, so he snuck into her house. Her house is that big mansion thing. And he was wearing a hat at that point. That's the same guy.
This is why I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, and he's creeping around and he sees that doctor. And I think that doctor did work at the house.
Yeah, that's my guess.
But the thing is, this is one of those kind of things where Lee Edwards art, who does the cover, did the first, whatever issues it was, the first 4 issues or whatever, was so solid. And it just felt like it really cemented the character and the style of the storytelling and whatnot that now having Sean Crystal have to interpret all that through his lens, I like Sean Crystal's artwork. I just don't think it's as strong for this story because this story's already been so developed in this other kind of a style and look that his look is so much more characteristic, so much more. He's more of a cartoonist than I'm trying to draw a real life kind of a thing. And so that makes it a lot harder. So I think that the beautiful guy, he's in the Mr. Beautiful, he's in the house. He sees that doctor and he has the flashback. That's that picture of him with all the crazy stuff over his head of them doing all this surgery on him. He sees her and goes, oh my gosh, you can do the surgery on me. So that's like he's trying to force her to do that. The book is brutal though. I mean, because our beautiful guy gets knocked down and there's the rat catcher is living in the basement.
Yeah.
He controls rats. Basically, his rats are his friends. Yeah. These he's kind of threatening mom and the doctor. And so the rats attack Mr. Beautiful and just tear him up. I mean, they rip him apart and he's not dead yet, but he's bloodier than all. Half his jaw's gone, half his face is eaten away. And he's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because they finally made him not Mr. Beautiful anymore, which is always what he wanted. And we keep commenting on the fact that it's hard to tell his face from the women's face. I believe he's supposed to be androgynous. He's not handsome. He is that kind of entrancing beautiful. So he looks a lot like the women. So I get that it's hard to tell them apart, but I don't have a problem with it at the same time because of that aspect. But yeah, where he's laying there, his face all chewed up, saying, all right. So for me, the story is still cool. The artwork's a little, next arc, Leon is doing the next arc. And he does a lot of cover stuff. Anybody who, I don't know, it's probably been a couple years now. There was a Detective Comics that he did the covers and the interiors for that 2-issue run in the airport. So I'm excited for that because that's closer to looking like Lee Edwards, the guy who does the covers right now. And then after he's done with an arc, Lee Edwards is coming back. And I saw him on Twitter and he said that he was writing and drawing that arc. Oh. So I don't know if that means we lose Jody Hauser altogether, who's currently writing the book. And I think she does an excellent job of writing it. I think, the words, as far as Bat Family, I love her because, man, she just drops the F-bomb and punches the hell out of stuff. I don't know. I dig her. So this was the hardest issue for me to get through as far as, because the art does make it more disruptive. I'll agree with that part of it for sure. I still really like the book. It's still my favorite Bat book. Still my favorite Bat book.
Yeah, I did audibly gasp when I saw the face and the rats attack. I was not expecting that. You know, and it was amazing to see, you know, the rats like here. I think the artist is good when he does, you know, this kind of stuff. When they were showing how the girl, Mother Panic, was learning to fight, and there's a girl in the background who claps. And I mean, she is totally unique from everybody else. When you see this picture right up here, if I can get a good one. I mean, she was really looking amazing in that picture. So I mean, he can make people stand out differently.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
The other thing was, lastly, the Mother Panic mask. How sometimes we see that it lights up over her mouth, and I thought that was an interesting take. I'm not quite sure what we're supposed to get out of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the giant mushroom that Mom was on. I was taking that the family garden was like a real garden, but then it got into this Alice in Wonderland giant mushroom, and I feel like we're losing somebody's idea on this. Like Jody Houser has an image, and this artist kind of went too far with it.
You think so? I guess it didn't bother me, because if you look in the background of those first issues and whatnot, you know, Lee Edwards is one of those people that likes to do architecture and whatnot. So there's a lot more, you know, columns and gingerbread and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then there's real plants. And then if you start looking, tucked in amongst the real plants are these, you know, ridiculous, maybe not as big as what the one is that's in here. Cause I mean, it's literally like it looks like the mushroom that the caterpillar sets on when he's toking the hookah, you know, back in Alice in Wonderland. So, I mean, he takes it a step further, but those mushrooms are scattered amongst it.
Yeah.
But you're right. This artist took it one step further. It didn't bother me. I mean, because I'm assuming the house is huge. She's got places that she kind of plays in La La Land, because mom's with it, but she's not with it at the same time. Yeah. You know, she clearly has a sense of what's going on, but it's definitely through this lens of delirium, you know, kind of a thing. So, yeah.
I did also like that the rat catcher lets Mother Panic know, I'm reformed, unless that's a problem, because I'm not really sure with you.
Right, because he doesn't know
if you're a hero or a villain. You know?
Right. So it's like, I can swing either way. You know, I'm reformed, but, you know, hey. It's like, you know, I'm living in the basement, if that's all right with you. And she's like, you okay, first rent is paid for because you saved Mom. You know, get rid of the body, and the second month is paid for. Yeah, she's the hero. Sure, she is. So, yeah. The art is strange, but like I still really am digging the story. So,
yes,
yeah, cool. Let's see. I'm gonna talk Wonder Woman. I know you guys don't pick up Wonder Woman. This is issue number 21, part of the current timeline type stuff. Well, I guess all of it's kind of current timeline at this point. The Liam Sharp drawn stuff, great issue. Wonder Woman's finally got her head screwed back on. She had spent some time kind of checked out, kind of in the mental ward kind of a thing. In this, she's shown up. The mercenaries that have been kind of dogging her this whole time come after her, and we get to see her basically fly around and beat the hell out of some people. And they open up a door that they think is the Themyscira. Her and Cheetah are back to not getting along again. You know, she tried saving Barbara Ann. You know, Barbara Ann, to try and save them, it re-accepts becoming the Cheetah again, and it's totally messed her up. I mean, she's now back to savagely wanting to eat people and all kinds of stuff. She hates Wonder Woman because this is all Wonder Woman's fault, you know, kind of stuff and whatnot. And they open up this portal they think is taking them to Themyscira. It's not. It takes them down into the roots of this tree that's been showing up throughout the series. kind of a thing, a place where back when Wonder Woman was younger, the tree had shown up on Themyscira on Paradise Island, and she got bit by a snake. And snakes don't exist on Paradise Island. But anyway, she got bit by a snake. That wound kind of reappears. They go into this tree, and in the bottom of the tree is shackled Ares. Ares is down there all shackled up. So what happens next? Who knows? Kind of thing. It'll be kind of exciting as we're rolling into the end of all of these creators being on Wonder Woman, because issue 25, I think, is kind of a, I don't know if it's issue 25 or the issue at that is kind of an annual kind of an issue. And then it's done. All the creators that are on the book right now are all going their separate ways to do other things. And we'll get all new people on it. But it's been lots of fun. And this issue was a lot of fun. It's just fun, you know, seeing Wonder Woman get shot. And the more times she gets shot, just the more pissed off she gets, you know. She gets shot once and she's like, okay. She gets shot a second time and she finally catches up to the person who's, you know, it's like a sniper that's shooting her. And she's like, you do not understand just how personal I take it when you shoot me more than once. You know, shoot me once, fine. Shoot me twice, now it's personal. And she just absolutely knocks the living stuffings out of the person that's shooting her. But I don't know, it was fun. I like it. Okay, what else? What else you guys got? Mike, what else you got?
The Shadow and Batman.
Well, you haven't colored your cover yet.
No. I'm behind on that. So.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I did not know a whole lot about the Shadow. I mean, I watched the movie when I was a kid, and now I've forgotten it. So it was nice. I got a friend at work who was actually starting to collect old Shadow stuff. So he was big on that. So I got to show this one to him. But I like the story. It was a new take, a new storyline. There was some old characters that we knew, and you know, it's just good. I just can't wait to see where this goes. Yeah,
I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it, just because, for one thing, it's a story that's kind of not connected to anything else. It's going to do its whatever. It's not going to, you know, change the DC universe. It's not going to change the Batman character in any way, shape, or form. I love the Shadow. Big fan of the Shadow too. I don't always collect the comic because the comic kind of has its ups and downs as far as get some really good people on it. It's great for a while. And it kind of slides off. It's like they get good artists on it. It's good. And then they get not good, so good artists and it's not so good. Kind of a thing. So I kind of read the Shadow and then I'm not reading the Shadow. And then I'm reading the Shadow and not reading the Shadow as far as that goes. I meant before the show to come on, I meant to drag out my old, I think it's Detective. Is there Detective or Batman? I've got one that's from, I want to say it's the late 60s. It might be the early 70s, that has the Shadow and Batman on it. And the Shadow is big on the cover. He's big, huge, looming with his 45s. And Batman's like, it's like a train depot. And Batman's like in one corner, all coward, you know, kind of thing. Cause because the Shadow, you know, he is all powerful and whatnot. But yeah, so that was cool. This is cool too. I think it's pretty fun. Me personally, I think the Shadow and the Batman are a perfect kind of a mix. I mean, they're both crimes obsessed, sort of a thing. Of course, the Shadow being kind of somewhat mythical in the fact that, you know, he uses some, mystic monk techniques that allows him to disappear and cloud people's minds and all that kind of stuff, depending on the interpretation of the story. So that all fits kind of into Batman's, history anyway, of his, spending time up in the Himalayas and all that kind of stuff, which they kind of do kind of touch on all that, to some degree and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Ryder Osmo art is always fun too.
Yeah.
He definitely has his own unique style, and I dig that and stuff. So yeah,
sometimes wondering, Ducard in the New 52, was his son nobody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
that's the only thing I was trying to think of that. I was remembering.
I don't know if Ducard is somebody who existed before Scott Snyder started writing Batman. But clearly that's a Snyder thing, because I mean, Snyder's name is in this book. My understanding is Snyder kind of plotted it, said this is where the story, this is how the story should go, and it's really Orlando that's doing the heavy lifting as far as the writing goes. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, I liked the introduction of all the villains with Crandall or whatever at the beginning. There's I also like the tech, how Rossimo displays Batman's tech and how it starts reading, giving him information.
Sure. Yeah.
The Rossimo art, it looks like he's really done a lot to grow on some of the big two aspect of it. I mean, Rossimo still definitely has a style that it makes it still look indie, but I loved it for that part too.
Right. Yeah. Johnny DeCosta Comics is saying that that he was mentioned in Red Hood. I'm assuming he's Descartes he's talking about. So John, was that when you say mentioned in Red Hood from the New 52 or Red Hood prior to that, like in the stuff that Jed Woodick was writing? We'll see at some point here if John answers that, because I'm curious because I don't remember. I haven't read a lot of the prior. I'm sorry, John, I haven't read a lot of the prior Red Hood stuff before the New 52, so I'm not 100% sure on that. But some fun stuff. It was definitely fun. I was excited to read it and was happy to have read it. New 52. Okay.
Right.
He's in New 52.
And those who ever get the comic book or the coloring book covers, it does of course have the real cover right underneath. So
you can just rip that off. Yeah, it's no big deal.
Yep. But I also figure for $3.99, if you can get an extra cover, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We'll get that from a Marvel book.
Oh, heck yeah. Well, if nothing else, that coloring book cover protects the cover that's underneath it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Okay. The Flash, issue number 21. The second issue of The Button Part 2. So I'll tell you right now, the Batman issue that was before this, not excited by that at all. I like Jason Fabok's art. I think he does great superhero artwork and whatnot. But they go like, as last week when that issue came out, I was like, oh my gosh, it's done in 9-panel grids, which of course is a Watchmen kind of a thing. But if you don't utilize it, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that you split and half the time the pictures, it wasn't like each grid was its own picture. They just did a grid over the top of whatever. So any rate, so we go on with the story. They do lots of looking back at Flashpoint, which of course was the event that happened that brought about the New 52. Which I don't know how that means anything to anybody who maybe jumped onto these books at Rebirth.
Yeah.
They don't hint around. I mean, they literally, Flash is literally standing going, oh yeah, that's when I created Flashpoint. I mean, so, I don't know. I'm not excited by this crossover. I wasn't excited about it initially. I mean, the whole Watchmen aspect of it, I don't know how much of that we're really going to play with or not. I mean, I know the Button is there. In this issue, the Flash and Batman has hooked his utility belt to the cosmic treadmill while Flash is running on it, and they're running through time, tracking back this trace of radiation that's from the Button to see if they can figure out they can figure out where it came from to, fix whatever this problem is, because the Reverse Flash is laying in the middle of the Batcave, half burnt to crisp. And we get the Batman from the Flashpoint universe is in this. Of course, that's Bruce Wayne's dad, from another dimension, but still it's Bruce Wayne's dad. I just don't care. I there's just not, whatever. I mean, it feels to me like they're telling this story because when Jeff Johns was still writing comic books, he created that whole DC Rebirth thing, threw this weird little thing in about the Watchmen baloney, and now they think they have to do something with it, which I would have been fine if they never would have. So I don't know. Not excited about this at all. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know how it reads to somebody who's not read the Flashpoint stuff and has no idea, other than they just keep going, ooh, it's the Flashpoint. Okay, so what? Yeah. Boo. Like I said, not excited by the crossover thing at all. So Alrighty, what else? What else?
I read Detective.
Oh yes, Detective Comics.
Comics, yeah. I mean, I really liked seeing something come full circle. I liked seeing that Cassandra Cain
Mhm.
now, because she was almost going to introduce herself to that girl from the ballet that she was stalking, because she
Right.
lives above the ballet. She almost introduced herself as orphan, and she stopped herself and said Cassandra Cain. I was like, yes, and I love the fact that she was actually speaking
Mhm.
small little snippets and little, just small little phrases, but I'm glad she kind of let the girl know, like, hey, I'm not a killer, never, never, and she did confirm, hey, that is me beside Batman, because the girl said, hey, look, I know who you are, I've seen you before, I've seen how you move, it's beautiful, and she told her a story about, like, pretty much gave her a story that will help her be brave to be able to defeat her mother,
Mhm.
and it kind of gave her this courage and I guess motivation to go back out there and try to defeat her mother, because apparently I missed something, but I think she went out there to fight and I guess she lost. And when she was wounded, she ran to that girl from the ballet or somehow landed there. The girl found her, nursed her back, or tried to nurse her back. And then she gave her that motivational story. We see her pretty much going to defeat her mother. I mean, this story is so short. I think that's, again, it being bi-weekly, you're not going to get like a full story. You're not going to get something that's so meaty.
Right.
I didn't do this. Still one of my favorite team books. Not really a Batman book, but
Yeah.
efforts.
I really liked it. I mean, for like you said, it being a book that comes out twice a week, I thought they put a lot in here. I bet they put a lot of meaning. They put a lot of. I mean, they write it in a way to make us invested in the orphan character in Cassandra Cain. I mean, and I think that's great because I think she's kind of been, seriously neglected since she was Batgirl back in the day. Since then, she has been pretty. She's been pretty neglected as far as the character goes. I mean, she briefly called Black Bat, during the New 52 and some of that sort of stuff. But I think that I think this does a good job of making us care one way or the other about the character. And yeah, what happened to her is, remember, she got in a fight with her mother the first time, and her mother basically seriously kicked her ass, and that's kind of what she's getting nursed back from. And of course, Batman has even hinted in this comic that she is probably a more deadly fighter than Batman could ever be.
Mm-hmm.
And in this issue, she is wrecking all of the League of Shadows, all the grunt ninjas. I mean, she is like roomfuls of them, caves full of them. She is mowing them down. I mean, just like, stab a katana to this person, grab another one from this person, and drive it through the next person. I mean, she's just mowing through these guys to save the to save the Bat family. Which the Bat family part was kind of funny. Batwoman, Batwing, and Azrael are all. They wake up. They're chained to a column. They're naked and chained to this column with a atomic bomb hanging over their heads, because the League of Shadows is going to blow up all the cave network that's in their Gotham, and literally the entire city of Gotham and part of even probably Bloodhaven is going to just fall into the earth. That's their plan to kind of get rid of the sin of Gotham kind of stuff. And there's some funny lines in there because they're all loopy. They've been drugged and whatever else. And so there's some funny lines in there about, about having a utility belt stuck in their teeth or that sort of thing and whatnot that I was kind of using. It is kind of the one pacing thing that's kind of strange is, so we get this whole Cassandra Cain part. It was a great story and everything. We get towards the end. She shows up. She's going to confront her mother. And the mother's like, I beat your ass once. What makes you think you're going to beat me again? And she's like, I don't plan on beating you by myself. I have friends. And of course, the whole Bat family shows up, and they're all dressed in their uniforms and they have all their equipment. When did that happen? I don't know, but somehow that part happened. Suspension of disbelief in comic books, I guess. But I really liked it. I really liked it because it was a great job, like I said, of giving us a good, rich story around Cassandra. Now I hope they use that stuff. Now I hope they go on to focus on some of the other characters that are still hanging around. Give us more Clayface so we can really make Mike jealous of the fact that he's not reading the books.
Well, I am reading them in digital from my Hoopla app.
That's not really reading them. Boo. In this issue, how they deal with Clayface is they put him in about 30 containers. They separate him into little globs and screw him in all these little containers, so he's all over the place, kind of thing. Can't pull himself back together again. So, yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Just going back to the button thing very quickly, John DeCosta is in the comments still, and he's saying that Bruce is going to ask about his mom, Travis's mom. If you read the Flashpoint stuff, there's a Flashpoint side story that's a Batman 3 issues. It is one of the best like little mini tie-in stories of any event I have ever read, especially if you're a Batman fan, because it's an alternate reality. And in this alternate reality, Bruce is the one that died, and that makes Bruce's dad turn into Batman. And there's something really special about Bruce's mom. And I won't spoil it for anybody who has not read it, but it is so awesome. And John, they will never use that in this book. There's not in a million years will they use that.
Tell me, what is this? You need to.
I'll tell you off air. I'll tell you off air. Because anybody who hasn't read that that's really interested should read it. It's even if you don't have to read any of the other Flashpoint stuff.
Yeah,
you don't have to read any of the other Flashpoint stuff. That by itself, those 3 issues, is just absolutely nuts. So,
for somebody who's not reading detective, what's the difference between the League of Shadows and the League of Assassins?
The League of Shadows is a splinter group that basically makes the League of Assassins look like a Girl Scouts.
Okay, all right.
Shiva was part of the League of Assassins and did not think that Rosh was doing his due diligence in taking care of. I mean, because their concept is to, and they're not just assassins. I mean, they're trying to, cut out some of the rot, and they do that by being assassins.
Yeah.
She's that extreme that sometimes some comics or the movies show Ross being. She's that kind of a thing. So that's what they are. They're like a splinter group. They're a splinter group that is crazier than the regular league.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. No problem. All righty. What else do we talk about? We all read this?
Oh, yep.
I didn't get to my Commandy.
No. I know. Paul Pope cover, man. I wish Paul Pope was doing the art on the inside of one of these, but
I know, right?
Yeah.
I did like the art inside. I thought it was a unique style.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like Snaggletooth when I saw the scientists that are inside the giant god. Mm-hmm. It almost made me think of the Snaggletooth I just recently read. So
yeah.
But no, I really like the art. To me, I know you mentioned it's not really good self-contained one stories, but it kind of reminds me like the Boy Scout Jamboree when you're sitting around the fire and you're clapping and you're singing a song, and each person has to sing certain lines, and then it goes to the next person, or you're telling a story. It's that kind of thing where I think it's probably more fun for the people who are doing it than us that are reading it.
Yeah, because they're getting paid.
Yes.
Yeah, I know the art's cool. The art is cool. The coloring's great on it. It's dynamic. It's exciting. I can't say this person's name. I have no idea. The Anda? I don't know.
Anda? Yeah, that's what I was thinking it was.
But yeah, I mean, it's fine. I'm gonna keep getting it. This is issue 4. It's gonna be 12 issues. I just wish, like I've said in my other videos, I just wish that it really. I mean, so this issue won't wreck anything for Rez, but it has one little piece basically in it, them escaping something, and then they're right to the next thing to escape, and that's where it ends at, kind of a thing. Yeah. It doesn't. Nothing's developed, and I guess nothing is going to develop, right? I mean, that's I guess my, my thing. Whereas the original Commandy book, and I know it's not fair to compare it to the King, to Kirby, but in that, it always felt to me like reading those issues. Each issue kind of felt like it was telling you its own thing. You got some other piece of information that informed you more about the world and everything. And I don't know. It's fine. I just really would like a real Commandy,
Yeah.
a real Commandy book, I guess.
The Willingham and Reese one that's coming next, that really piqued my interest, though.
Yes.
That
yeah,
last page that they hinted at.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're kind of on a death race 3000 kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the giant wheel they're riding in.
Yeah. But I mean the eagles
yeah.
that they show and the Indiana Jones looking tiger, I thought that was kind of a cool look.
Yeah.
I like these because there's a lot of artists that I don't know
Sure.
or don't think about. So I do like these for the same reason there was those Wednesday comics that was printed on newspaper, and it was like 1 page each. So you got to see a new story and a new artist, like each storyline. I thought it's a cool concept.
Yeah. It is. It definitely is. I mean, you like something that's on here, go check out the next thing. I wish they were using Flower. The girl that he has with her now, that's kind of like, she could be chopped up and it doesn't kill her because she's literally a plant person. Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember that from the original run at all. I rather have it been the Flower. Maybe they didn't want to do Flower because they wouldn't have to figure out how to keep drawing the hair hanging across her breasts all the time. Yeah. I don't know. And the fact that you can't have any dialogue with her because she doesn't speak. We haven't even encountered any other humans in the book, because all the other humans, of course, are dumb, dirty apes. They don't talk. I don't know. There's this
unless that's the twist at the end.
Oh, that's right. As he stumbles across the Statue of Liberty again, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other DC books you want to talk
about? Supergirl?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through it. You can talk about it all you want to. I don't think it's going to completely wreck anything for me, but
no. The thing I want to talk about is 48 pages, no ads, square bound. We mentioned, and it's a really great story and amazing artwork. It's $6 for 48 pages. I would buy every comic of mine if it was done in this format. So I think that's the thing. I mean, it continues the story of Kara Zor-El as she continues to get through the tragedy that her friends have been in. There was the earthquake. One of her friends died. She still has to go to school. She still has to be normal. Did you see the interaction with her family then, her grandparents?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was an interesting take too, that the grandparents aren't real acceptive of her and are kind of, they don't know what to do about her, but the parents are just like, just go to your room. Grandpa and grandma will leave, because it's her mother's parents that are from far away.
Right.
And so it's very interesting that it's, dad just takes care of everything and mom just keeps the day going on. I just thought it's a beautiful dynamic telling of this new Supergirl story. So
yeah, it doesn't hurt that it's 48 pages of Jolene Jones art. So
yes, exactly.
Yeah, because she makes everything look good. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't even think about it till you get to the end, and there's no ads. There's not even ads in the back like in the Image comics. So I guess I just like that format so much.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely worth it. I think. I think all of the books should be put their ads at the back. They put the ads at the back. I actually look at them. They put them in the middle of the book, and I'm just irritated and try to flip past them as fast as I can, and don't even bother to look at them. Other than to acknowledge, it's an ad, and go on my way, kind of thing, for sure. So, yeah. All righty. Rez, you got any other DC books you want to talk about?
No.
Only other one I've got that I got read is Batgirl. This is issue 10, more of the Son of the Penguin kind of a thing. Really like this new artist, Wild Goose, that's on it. He just does really great, dynamic, kind of art style. The cover is indicative of exactly what it looks like on the inside there. She has great facial expressions. Barbara Gordon does. So do her friends. Hope Larson does an excellent job of kind of portraying this, young woman being Batgirl and the stuff that's involved with that and trying to have a relationship. And of course, she's got a complicated relationship because her relationship is with somebody she finds out is a offspring of the Penguin. It doesn't turn out so well. You know, he's kind of well, he's not kind of, he's definitely a douchebag. He starts out really great, really nice, and then he's manipulative, he's jealous, he's possessive, he's everything you don't want in a really bad boyfriend, basically, kind of a thing. I mean, he kind of stalks her because he kind of taps into the cameras that are all over the city and kind of follows her around and exposes her. She plays ping pong with the Penguin in here, which is awesome. At the beginning of it, they've both broken into the tech firm that the son of Penguin owns. They're both in there sneaking around trying to find out stuff about him, and they both end up like in the rec room, and anybody who knows anything about like Google and stuff like that, they have all this kind of ridiculous foosball tables and all that stuff. Well, they have a ping pong table. And so the two of them are kind of talking to each other about Ethan is the name of the Penguin's son. They're actually playing ping pong between the two of them, which is kind of fun watching, a Batgirl and Penguin. Penguin plays a pretty good game of ping pong, which is kind of a weird, fun thing there. That gets used against her because while she's doing that, I mean, they're talking about, what they're going to do. They're not teaming up. They don't trust each other at all, but they both know that Ethan's a bad kid. Well, Ethan's recorded that because he's got cameras everywhere, and he releases it on the internet that they're secretly in league with each other, right? So people and the cops start to not trust Batgirl because she's, of course, teamed up with the Penguin. The criminal elements don't trust Penguin because clearly he's become turncoat and hanging with the superheroes because they're playing ping pong. You wouldn't be playing ping pong if you didn't like each other. So I don't know. It's just there's some fun stuff in it. Like I said, I really enjoy it. Monthly comic, I'm really having a good time with. So
is that supposed to be Gordon on the cover?
Yeah, that's Gordon.
All right.
Yep. He's got his stash there. I don't know if you can see on the camera. He's got his mustache back. So yeah. This scene doesn't actually happen in the cover, but he is in the issue. So, but no, I really enjoyed it. It's a fun book. And the other DC books I got this week, I have not read yet. And I still got, like Blue Beetle and Hellblazer and Batman Beyond. And so I still have a few.
What's your thought on Blue Beetle? I had somebody who's been complaining that it's just a little too much whining in the book right now.
But there's a lot of that. Jaime spends a lot of time just complaining because his life's out of control. It's okay. My big problem with it is it kind of keeps rehashing the same stuff. When Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle was introduced, he went through all this stuff, him being a kid, learning how to be a hero and also still go to high school and have high school friends and all that kind of stuff. Kind of a Spider-Man kind of a story, but a Blue Beetle version of it. And it was really fun and really entertaining. Then New 52 started up. They reintroduced Jaime Reyes as the Blue Beetle, and they literally rehashed the exact storyline that happened just prior to the New 52. Now we've got Rebirth, and that book got canceled. Now we've got the Rebirth Blue Beetle, and there's lots of aspects that are doing the same damn stuff. I mean, I get that. He's in El Paso, which is kind of cool. He's in kind of an odd town. It's not like some big mega city or whatever. But there's the same kind of bad guy elements in this that are in every single one. And they're going through the same motions. And that's frustrating. The reason I am going to drop the book. The reason I'm still on it right now is Dr. Fate's in it. I'm a big Dr. Fate fan. So I'm kind of hanging along just to see how they're portraying Dr. Fate in the new, in the Rebirth. He's okay. They're making him really lofty and somewhat unimportant. He just kind of shows up and is like the doomsayer. We have to get rid of this Blue Beetle thing because it's evil and you don't understand the blah blah. But we'll see how this issue is. But I don't think I'm going to keep getting it with it jumping up $1 in price. Yeah. And
that was a Golden Age Dr. Fate, not the new one from New 52.
It's not the New 52.
All right.
It's definitely prior to that. It's kind of a mix of stuff. New uniform, not toned down from the New 52 because the New 52 was incredibly gaudy, cool looking, but I wouldn't want to be an artist that to draw that more than once. Yeah. So they've toned it down to make it a little more reasonable for the draw. Plus, the other downside for me is the book is drawn by Collins and I'm not a Collins fan. I'm not
All
a
right.
fan of his artwork. He took over for Howard Porter on Justice League 3000 and Justice League 3001. He took over as the artist on that, and anybody who remembers me talking about that book, I complained about the art change on that too. So yeah. Anyway, okay, so any DC news we want to talk about? 32 days, I think we are out from Wonder Woman movie. Not that there's a whole lot of ads out there about it, but it is out there. It will be coming out, so excited for that. Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. I can't think of anything there. Trying to think if there's anything that's real.
Gotham came back on TV this Monday. Rise of the Heroes.
I'm like a season and a half behind on that, so.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm way behind on most of
Won't even bother to ask you about S.H.I.E.L.D. then.
Yeah, no. Right. Other than I hear they don't have Nazis in it, so.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So no DC, we're gonna roll on to some independent books.
Woo!
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll just let Rez do all the talking the rest of the night. And
Yep.
I've got a pretty healthy stack of independent books. So Rez, what do you want to talk about?
I have this book, but it was one of my favorite books of the week, and it is called The Rift.
Love that.
I believe issue 4. Yes, it is last issue. Oh my god, let me tell you, it was so freaking good. This series was just, oh my god, with everything I wanted, everything I needed. The premise is we have this one fighter pilot who comes through the rift. That's this rift in time. We have this covert operations, that kind of sector that works in the government that the government doesn't really know about, but they do. That they work together to put people that come through these rifts back into their own time before they mess up temporal space and time and things like that. And so when this guy comes through, that's what they're trying to do. They want to send this guy back through his own time. He comes from the 40s or something like that, and so thousands, of course. And so they're like, we have to get him back, because when we don't send people back through their rift, what happens is we have cataclysmic events that occur, and people die, bad things happen. And so the first 2.5 issues are spent trying to get this guy. And so somehow the time rift actually speeds up the calculations, and are normally that they have maybe a few days to get the guy back into the rift. But for some reason, when this guy started intermingling with people, the rift closed up quicker than they expected, and nothing happened. No event of any sort. And so this final issue, by the time we got to this final issue, we were seeing a lot of crazy things happen. In particular, we have this rift open. At this point, with this theory that one of the women that he first encountered, her and her young son, her theory is that people are coming through the rift not to be sent back so that things can't happen, like all these crazy events happen, but they're being sent through the rift closure with things that they need help with. So like, for instance, this one boy came through the rift, this young boy, he got abused, and she identified with him because she was abused by her husband. And we see her husband come through a lot of these different issues, beating on her. We find out apparently he had some kind of information on her that made her go back to him every time. And so in this last issue, we see that young boy that she talked to and got to go back through the rift, he remembered some things. He remembered that she fed him McDonald's, that he had a Coke, and that he saw a Xerox machine. And so he used that information to, build his, empire. And he came in, use that information to be able to help her and take care of her. And so during this time when they were reconnecting, she figured out who he is. This older man, and he comes through with the premise that, hey, I'm looking for my daughter. She's been taken by this Black Lake killer. They had this Black Lake killer who killed a lot of women around the 80s. And so this man came from the 80s, and came through the rift looking for his daughter. So this, she's like, oh, I'm gonna help him. We have to help him solve his, we have to help him find grief. We have to find the killer man, you know, be able to go back through his rift peacefully. And so while they're trying to help him, they find out that this man actually is.
Oh.
Yeah. In this issue, they find out he's actually a Blackblade killer, and so he starts killing people, and you know, I mean, it's crazy. Like, and so I guess what he wanted to do is go back in time and be able to kill more people, or take him back to his rift so he can kill more people and, you know, go back into the rift and kill more people and everything. And so before that happens, her abusive ex-husband shows up and tries to offer the killer money. And before he agrees to let him go through the rift with him, the people, the agents, they kill the serial killer guy, but her husband actually ends up going through the rift and disappearing. And we find out that it was also a little side story that her son wasn't really her son. It was a baby she found in a dumpster, which was a secret that her husband had over her. Well, apparently, crazy is she finds at the very last end that that baby was actually really her baby. She thought it wasn't her baby because she found him in the trash, but no, it was her baby because she apparently traveled in time before and didn't know it. I'm like, what?
Wow.
It was so good.
Wow.
It was so good. So anybody, if you read it to The Rift by Red 5 Comics, you have to get it because it's so damn good. It's so good. I love the artwork. It was just, let me show the artwork in here. I thought it was very, very good, and I hope they come out with a second season of this because it was just primo.
Sounds really cool. Mike would hate it because, of course, it's time travel.
Yep.
Sounds cool. I love those covers. That cover is just an awesome cover.
Yeah,
it's just stark and perfect. So,
it is.
That sounds really cool. Sounds really, really cool. Alrighty, Mike, what you want to talk about?
Clean Room.
Clean Room issue what, 19?
Yes.
Oh, 18.
18. The end.
The final issue.
Oh, sorry about that. I liked it. I liked how they wrapped it up. I thought it was about as good as we could ask for this being a rush job. There was a lot of things that, you know, you could tell there was so much more story to it, but it was nice to see, like, you know, she tells her at the end that to say it was all a lie, and, you know, to tell everybody I was a fraud, you know, so that nobody knows what's going on, even though there was demons coming out at people in the end. So I was kind of surprised by that. The blue cards, they never really explained that part where the people were supposed to be going to
bunkers, right?
Stories,
right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, so there clearly tons of more story that could have been told. Unfortunately, that we didn't get told. You know, I mean, who's 100% at fault for that? I'm not 100% sure. You know, should Gale have told a sharper, faster story in the first place? Would it have sold better? I don't know. I just think people aren't reading Vertigo comics because it's not the cool thing to read anymore. I don't know. So because of the way she told the story, lots of stuff still hanging that we really don't get. I mean, we get an end. An end, but there's just tons of stuff that, I mean, the super boat with the super cannon that blows the stuff out of the sky, you know, blows the city out of the sky. I know that should have all been a lot longer of a story. We should have learned even more about that wacko pervert that's sitting out there with the big gun. Yeah, I mean, I figured the demon stuff, the reason that's easy to cover up is because anybody who saw those demons is probably dead, or they're one of, you know, Mueller's right-hand people, and they're not going to spill the beans, right? Because so yeah, I mean, it ended, so you can say it had an ending and whatnot. I guess I just think the whole thing's unfortunate.
And they did finish it off with her reading the book, so she'll either go mad or she'll understand it all.
Right.
You could always say it could lead to a second storyline, but it's
I
pretty much
guess.
writing on the wall that it's done.
Yeah. Whereas originally when it was told that it was going to take a break, that this was book one, acting like there was another book. I don't think there's going to be another.
No.
Unless she takes like Saucer County, unless she waits until all the rights go on the book and then she takes it someplace else and attempts to do it again from under some other company, which I guess she could do. I just don't feel like there's enough story left behind. Do you know what I mean? To really, yeah, they could tell something else, but the kind of the
mystery of it is kind of gone.
Yeah, it's gone, right? So it's I would be. I don't think I would pick up another run of it with having this ending. If this book would have just been canceled, and there was still lots of stuff to know, and a second volume came out a year from now under another company, I'd probably pick it up to be curious. Now I don't think I would.
Right.
With the kind of the ending that we do have. I like the book. I mean, I've kind of enjoyed The Clean Room all the way along. And this was kind of the ending I guess I expected. They're going to throw up as much stuff as they can to try and answer a few things. And there's a bunch of stuff we're never going to really know the real details of. So, yeah. But if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. I mean, I guess fortunate that they did get an ending. I guess. But speaking along those lines, I have the other Vertigo book that ended this. I can get to it here. The Unfollow also ended at issue 18. So all those books that got released October, November, December, a couple years ago, or a year and a half ago, whatever, they're all gone. None of them are left. That whole big big Vertigo push. This is the end of it. And then this book has an ending. It literally gets down. This is the whole countdown of, like the Twitter app, except it's called something else that's like Twitter. 140 people, and they slowly get mowed down, until there's, a few people left, and they're going to get this $18 billion split amongst however many of them there are. With this book, I really wish it wouldn't have ended. I wish they would have kept telling the detailed, interesting, strange story that they were telling, and it just never ended. I would have been fine with that, because this ended just like the Clean Room ended. They hurried to the very end and slapped it all together, but there's a crap load of stuff in between that is not really explained to us. All the kind of metaphysical stuff that happened in the book, zero explanation. We have no idea what happens in it, kind of a thing. It does end up getting down to one person at the very end. At the end of the book, literally there's one person left. That part's fine. The ending of this story, I would have been satisfied with. I would have really liked it if I had gotten the 2 or 3 years worth of stories that should have happened in between it, kind of a thing.
Well, I remember you and Ryan, I saw on Twitter, there was one part where somebody even says, did this really happen?
Right. Well, because Dave was one of the main characters in here. He sees this Jaguar all the time. I mean, even before he's picked to be part of the 140 people, he has they're robbing a jewelry store, and he's kind of along because he doesn't really have much choice in it. He's kind of attached to a gang of guys, and he's doing this because when you're living on the street, you do what you got to do, kind of thing. And this Jaguar, kind of sees him eye to eye in the middle of his jewelry store in the middle of LA. Clearly there's no Jaguars running around LA. But then throughout the book, this Jaguar keeps showing up, and it talks to him. I mean, it like tells him, dude, you need to, be the predator, not the prey. You need to, all this different stuff, kind of talking him through things. And you're never sure what the hell it's about. Well, at the very end of this story, the guy who was going to give away the money, he lives. He thought he was going to die of cancer. He ends up beating cancer. And we find out this whole thing was set in, this chain of events was set into place because his girlfriend / going to be wife or newly married wife cheats on him or something, and he's pissed off at the human race, and so he sets this whole thing up just to show how horrible the human race can be. Right. But he does think he's going to die. He's on death's door. He manages to survive cancer. They're out in the jungle. He's going to blow the entire internet up, and he does for a while. He actually shuts the entire internet. All the satellites go to hell. There's no internet, kind of thing and stuff. But they're out in the jungle, and Dave comes across him. Dave and another one of the final people left come across him. They shoot his guards, and he is running away because he doesn't want to be shot by these guys. And they're pissed as hell because, I mean, they've made these people's, yeah, they're going to win all this money, but their lives have basically been ruined. He's running from the guy, Dave, with a gun, and literally he stumbles in this water, and coming out of the jungle is a jaguar. And the jaguar is like looking at this guy, and Dave's standing there, and Dave looks at the other person with him, and he goes, is this real? Is this really happening? And it's like, yeah, there's a jaguar there. And the jaguar eats the guy. That's my favorite part of the entire book, is the fact is that, you know, this real jaguar comes out of the jungle and tears the guy up. And the guy's like, no, help me. And they're like, no, we're just going to play this out. We're just going to see where this journey takes us as the jaguar eats him. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, this was an excellent story. Superior art by Dalian and Winter. You know, Dalian's pencils and line work and whatnot, and Winter's coloring on it. That just unfortunately did not have the sales and got killed. So don't know if there's gonna be a TV show. Ryan keeps saying there's a TV show somewhere, but I haven't heard much about it. If there will be one at some point, I will probably watch it out of curiosity's sake. But now I know the ending of it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it's got to be tough for you and Rez, because I know you guys invest so much in these indie books.
Yep.
And we've seen some of them where like halfway through it changes to a totally different story, or you know, they have to rush a story, or a story just ends. You know, I you know, you guys are a lot braver than I am to start picking up these books. So.
Yeah, but that's how you get to see some of the good stuff, right? If you didn't take the risk on the paybacks, you wouldn't have had the fun story of the paybacks that you had, right?
Yeah.
But of course, it didn't meet its sales that it needed to, so it moved to another company, and you know, still didn't completely hit what it needed to. Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess, you know, it's like any other piece of entertainment. You're spending a certain amount of money on it. You don't know whether it's going to be good or not. And you invest some time in it, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. You know, and then unfortunately, it does feel like sometimes us as fans, we have to cheerlead as much as we can and convince as many other people as we can to buy it. Maybe not because we think it's good, but just because we need enough people to buy the damn thing so I can keep reading it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You know, it's tough. It is. You know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I think most of these writers have to have a short version. I think they have to have a short version of their story setting ready to go in case it does not do well. Can they at least finish some sort of a story, you know, and then how can I make it longer if it looks like it's gonna sell and be successful kind of thing. And that has to be hard to do. That has to be hard to do, I think, to set it for two ways. So, or you just don't write a story, or you don't write a story that has a definite ending in 6 issues. That way you've got room to, if people really loved it, you can keep moving forward with it and whatnot. So yeah, sure. Alrighty, what else? What else do you want to talk about? Rez, what do you got?
Old Guard, did you read this?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
I I found this so cheesy, like in some ways, like the one couple guy, when the guy was like, "What is it, your boyfriend?" He was like, "Boyfriend."
So you don't want your other half to profess their grand love.
I liked it. I liked it, but it was so cheesy. It was just like, oh my god, it really, like, it felt like a movie. I felt like I was watching a movie.
Yeah, it was. So right. So Rez, right, what happens is 2 of our immortal guys are in a armored car. They're riding along, and they know they're going to be taken someplace where they're probably going to be tortured. They're going to, because somebody wants to like become immortal too, right? So they're going to take these guys, do experiments, whatever they need to do, and they know what's coming, you know. And they're in this truck with these, you know, tough, you know, mercenary guys, and the one of the guys is laying down on the floor, and the other guy is all concerned for him, and of course he gives the whole, "What is that? Your girl? Is that your boyfriend there?" And of course the guy is offended by that because they are lovers. They've been lovers for like 200 plus odd years, and it is kind of cheesy, but at the same time, these guys are of a different era, right? They're from the era where, you know, you don't show up and send a text and say, you know, I want to get with you. You know, it's all this other, it's this higher end romantic kind of a thing. So I mean, he's basically not quoting Shakespeare, but kind of quoting Shakespeare, and this man is the sun and the moon and all this stuff.
It was like cheesy. It was so cheesy. It was like I felt like I was watching a rom-com. I not that it was bad, but it was just like, okay. I mean, it kind of honestly, it does take you out of your element when you're reading this, because you're reading it thinking you're gonna get this story about these pretty much assassins in some ways, or mercenaries, these ancient mercenaries. But then you have this love story thrown through there, and then not with just them, but with the lead one, the female one, her little romances that she has every now and again, and you get a lot of existentialism, and a lot of
I guess I like I said, I think with the main character, with Andy, I don't know what her
wants to be. That's just the point. I don't know what kind of what the story is aiming to be, like what kind of genre is it trying to be, because I feel like it's marketing as some kind of thing where we're going to see a lot of killing and action, and then you don't get that, you get more.
Oh, I don't know. In this issue, how many people got wrecked in this issue?
Oh no, people did. I'm saying, but you get more than just the killing. You're getting the romance, you're getting the slice of life, and you're getting a lot of stuff. You're not just getting killing and action.
Yeah. Well, I think we're getting different aspects of immortality, right? If you're immortal, what all is that going to bring you? Well, there's this cool part where you can get shot in the head with a grenade, and blow the entire top of your head off, and you're going to walk away from it. All that great part of it. And then there's this downside to immortality. If you aren't lucky like these two guys who have fallen in love with each other and they're both immortal, your love is not going to last. That's the downside to immortality. If you find a lover who's not an immortal also, you're not, you don't, that's the downside. So I think that's probably we're seeing Andy's relationships the way that they are, to show us the downside to immortality is that, it only lasts. It can only last. I mean, and for her, she's been alive so long, she can't remember when she was born.
Yeah.
So for her to have a relationship with somebody, even a 20-year relationship, is like the blink of an eye, I would think, for how long she's been alive. And so that has to be tough. And I think that's, for me personally, I see that's kind of why we're seeing some of these aspects, these different aspects, is because it's part of immortality. Here's the cool side and here's the downside. The cool side is,
I'm sorry.
The cool side is that if you have a lover who's immortal with you, and until that final day when you do meet that final death, awesome. You're going to be able to spend centuries, in love with the same person. Whereas in Andy's case, she can't find that, so she quit trying. Now it's all kind of empty and shallow. Why bother? Is kind of where for me, it feels like Andy's kind of going through the motions. This is what we do because I can't really die. So this is what I'm, kind of a thing. And now they're having to show the ropes to the new girl, Nile. They're showing the ropes to her. So we're going to get to see even more about, I think, some of the pitfalls and benefits of being immortal. That's what I see it being.
I did like how they explained to her that, hey, you might want to start writing letters to your family, because after a while, you're going to start seeing, when they start seeing that you never age, they're going to start wondering, and then they're going to track down the secret of yours. And when you won't give it to them, you're going to start seeing sides of them that you don't like, and you're never going to forget part of them out of your memory. You're always going to, when they die, that's what you're going to remember them as. And so to prevent that, don't write them anymore. And then also, I seen how apparently, they can't die, but they can get wrecked up real quick. It's like they're regenerative. So they have these regenerating abilities where they get blown off, but it just somehow grows back, or they can hang from a ice cold and being picked at by crows, but they somehow survive. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm really enjoying the book. largely, it's the art. It has a huge PR of that. Fernandez's art I really like. I mean, I thought this issue was really exciting because there is a ton of action. I mean, it's this whole scene of Andy, our the head of the group, because she's the oldest, going down through this tenant building in France, just absolutely wrecking this mercenary group that's trying to catch them. Super exciting, fun stuff there. That cheesy part that Rez is talking about, where these two guys are, basically one of them is professing his love. It is cheesy, and if it was modern day people doing it, it would definitely be that way. I thought it kind of fit for the characters because the characters are kind of anachronism. They're kind of out of time. They are from that era. That's the way that you would deliver. That's how they would profess their love, kind of a thing. So I thought that was fun and whatnot. So I'm still enjoying it. I think we got one more issue and then it's taking a break. 1 or 2 more issues, and then it's taking a huge break, I think. So
I totally skipped issue number 2, so maybe it was more about their relationship that it didn't come across in the 3rd issue for me. But yeah, well, I guess immediately jumping in issue 3 and not reading number 2, I was like, what is this? What is this? It's a romance.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at the comments, Ryan C is saying that Old Guard has been really up and down. One issue, issue 1 not so great. Issue 2 was awesome. Issue 3 was kind of back down again. And Sleeper Reader is here also, Sleeper 66, and he is saying, to me, Old Guard is pure pulp that is best when you don't think about it too much. Which I can get that too. For me, it's the art. That's the big sale. I like watching her just absolutely blow up and shoot up a whole bunch of people too and whatnot. So I look forward to what's next. For me, it hasn't had a down issue, but like I said, I'm a sucker for the art. You can just take the words away and I can just look at Fernandez do whatever and probably be happy. So so
I'll probably have like 1 more issue left, but
okay.
Back with it if they don't kill it.
It's gonna take a huge break though. My understanding is it's gonna take a massive break. But so we'll see. Mike, got any books you want to talk about?
Not from this week, but I just wanted to mention from last week, Shaolin Cowboy.
Oh, excellent book.
It is just packed full of art. I mean, what you get on the inside is just beautiful, and then there's just so much of it in there. Just from page to page, it's just jam full of goody stuff. Though I was going to ask, I only got from the last run, the silent issue where he has the chainsaws on either end of the pole and he's going through the zombies. How much of the book was that?
Well, that one issue was almost the entire thing is that.
All right.
He wanders out into the desert, and then, I mean, a matter of probably, I don't know, 15 minutes passes in that first comic, I think, kind of a thing. Right. So, I mean, it is absolute zombie chopping porn. That's really truly what that other was. I mean, I remember when that came out, a lot of us had a discussion as to whether or not Darrow was trolling us by having that entire issue where it's literally just him spinning in a circle, mowing down, guy after guy, kind of a thing. It's clearly more than that. There's so much. To me, it feels like there's just a ton of subtext in that issue. I mean, just the kind of looking at the stuff that's in the background, the social commentary, the anti-politics stuff that's there. Clearly, Darrow has a problem with Verizon cell service because he tears that apart, kind of a thing. Just if you take the time to really look at all the art and all the stuff that's written everywhere, the signs that are in the background, it is just over the top, nuts as to how much detail and craziness that's all in there. This issue felt really chatty. Like there was a lot of a lot of talking in it, which I thought was really curious. But I'm fine with. I mean, that's one of those books. It is just so its own thing, but I really love it.
And that's what I was just trying to figure out, because I mean, like I said, I saw the one issue of the previous one, and then it seems to go right into this
Yes.
series,
Yeah, I did
which
not
you
miss a
don't
beat.
really need because was any of this stuff in the last run? I mean, the crab people and
The satellite. There's the people using the satellite to follow him was in that last little
Okay.
chunk.
All right.
So those people are after him. Yeah, the crab, whatever. The lady with the crab stuck on her head, where it's actually the crab uses the lady as his hands so he can drink, and all the other
and his
stuff.
cousin,
And
that's an even bigger one,
and that whole room that is just loaded with Nazis and white supremacists and lots of dogs that are missing their front legs and have daggers for front legs instead. Just completely over the top crazy. Yes.
All right.
Absolutely beautiful.
For that reason, yes, people should go out and get that book for that. I mean, it was so much.
Well, here's the thing. You pay $3.99 for a comic book, and there's like you get 2 characters on the panel and almost a few lines and a splash of color for background or whatever. Yeah. This book is completely the opposite. You can spend forever just looking at a single panel. That double page spread that you open up where all the cars are whipping by and he's staggering up onto the, man, you can spend forever just looking at all the trash, because every piece of trash has something on it. It may be Coca-Cola, it may be cocaine, it may be, there's just all kinds of stuff everywhere, all over the stuff. The topless mechanics place that they stop at towards the end of the book, all the stuff in the background, it's, I don't know, it's Pussy something or other is the name of the place and whatnot. And just, you start looking at the little stuff that's in the background, there's just all kinds of craziness in it. So,
and you think, does he have the entire thing in the can already when he releases this?
I don't know. I don't know. I Dark Horse, they release little bits at a time kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm sure he does a few issues. They put it out. It makes some money. They have some money. He works on some more, puts out another one at some point. I think is kind of how, puts out a few issues. I think this is 3 issues. This thing is, I think. Okay. Just the back of it. Just the back. If you look at the back cover alone.
4 issues, 1 of 4.
1 of 4. Okay. Just the back of the cover, the very back cover. Just that one panel and the little bit that talks about what's going on in it is perfect storytelling in and of itself.
Yeah. All right.
The dogs getting their bones and whatnot. So yes, happy to talk about that, because that's just a great, a great book. Okay, Rez, what else did you get to?
Oh, let's see. Black Monday.
Burgers, yes. comes back off of its big break, right? It was gone for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, wasn't it? Something like that.
That's for sure. Yeah. I missed it. I really honestly, I wanted to see more of this detective, this aloof detective, the guy who's out of the loop. But I loved seeing how this one professor is explaining to him the true explanation or details behind, like saying, hey, it's where there's money, where there's a trail of money, and there's going to be behind that, and just giving all the scenarios and stuff of how the story of money is the root of all evil, how that actually is true. And I love seeing that. I love how they intertwine a lot of biblical things along with, I guess, a lot of secular things, I guess. It just fuses.
Right. Yeah, the whole money is power, and it's like, well, the guy, our detective is like, well, yeah. They go, no. Real money is real power. We're not talking about bank accounts. We're not talking about electronic numbers. We're talking about the money that is pulled, the silver that is pulled out of the ground and pounded into those, into coins and whatnot. He talks about the fact that, how come we all like, is it Peter or Paul? I can't remember which one it is. One of the P's for the Bible.
We all Paul, right?
Right. We all think he's great. And we all think Judas is horrible. Why? Because Judas took the money. Judas took the physical blood money. That was the real power. Judas took the real power. Whereas, Paul, actually threw Jesus under the bus, three separate times. That's a bigger sin, but somehow he gets to write the Bible and set the rules, and Judas gets hung from a tree somewhere, kind of a stuff. And then he goes on and talk about pulling the silver out of the mines there in South America and making the money out of it. And every coin is worth 10 slaves because 10 Indians, 10 natives died pulling that coins, each one of those coins basically out of the mountain. All that kind of stuff, now we get an even further understanding of the real power, because this, it's all hinted at this whole stockbroker kind of thing. These cults that are, supposedly have this magic power, that kind of bending reality, has to do with banking and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, it's where the real power is at. That all is really cool. Plus we have this sister who clearly is, considered kind of like a bastard child, has come back. Half the camp doesn't like her because she is this kind of not pure blood, whatever. That whole thing's getting really interesting and really cool. Just a really, really good book.
I like seeing her take charge. I like the whole interview process that she had with her when she was, questioning him and saying, asking him, hey, what did you think about my brother? And I want your honest opinion. He just keeps giving her these BS,
Well, the corporate line, right? The corporate line, yeah.
Yeah, just give her, saying, oh, well, he was this, and then he's like, oh, well, he was weak, and she's like, try again. This is your last time, and then he's like, well, he didn't deserve what happened to him. And I'm like, polar opposite answers, didn't we? Like, we went from this one situation but anyway, she was like, well, I'm gonna give you a chance to avenge him. And I'm like, oh yes. We're getting to the meat and bones now. We're gonna get some revenge now. But yeah, I'm interested to see what her familiar is gonna be doing. That girl, she had something in her eyes.
Yeah. She
was like, she caught something, I don't know what. Forward to seeing that situation play out. I want to know more about this Haitian Haitian detective. I really like the fact that he just plays along with what he needs to play along with to give people the perception that he's normal, like that he, just so that he can kind of observe things from afar. And I like that because it shows that he's very in different ways. I think that's really good for the story because they're probably going to need someone to be able to adapt to separate situations, to be able to infiltrate this organization of Kraken.
Right. Well, I just wonder at the end of this whole. I just wonder if at the end of this whole thing, what's going to happen to him? Is he really going to solve the crime, or are they going to take care of their own? Do you know what I mean? Because they're
going to die, busting it wide open. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Really, really enjoying it. Great book. Super happy to have it back.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of sad that it's not as hefty. I experienced it before, but I like it a lot.
I know what you're saying because you're talking about on your haul that it doesn't weigh as much and whatnot. I don't think it's as many pages, maybe kind of a thing. It's less money now, so there is that. We're not still paying because it was a more expensive book. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go dig them out to know for sure. It still felt like it was a pretty hefty read, though. There's a lot to read there. I
needed more redacted files. I just needed more redacted files to kind of fill me up a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know. I did not read this book as fast as some of the other books I read. Some of the other books are really easy to just kind of churn through, consume, you're done kind of thing. This one, it's interesting enough that I'm reading it with intent to go, okay, what's really going on as I'm reading, wondering if there's clues or whatever kind of thing as I'm going along. So, yeah. Cool. Mike, you got any other books? No. Okay. I read Britannia. Did you get to read Britannia, Rez?
Actually, I sure did. I did. And I have this cover.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I enjoyed it. I thought for a first opener, I missed Britannia, to be honest. I did. I know it's been a little up and down. I think this is a better storyline for me than the last season where we had that demon
Yeah, last one was a little weird because he was still so kind of out of it and stuff. You didn't, I mean,
Yeah.
you felt kind of lost along with him, which I guess was okay for storytelling, but at the same time, plus, I mean, I have to agree with Damien with Sleepy Reader. That last series was so dark and muddy that by the time they colored it, it was kind of, it looked a lot like this all the way through the comic. It was a little hard to read because of that. This one's not that way. They're in Rome, much more of it's white and marbly and cleaner, so it is visually easier to look as far as that sort of stuff goes. So got another mystery going on. People are being murdered. From our vantage point as readers, it almost looks like the statues are coming to life to kill people or something along those lines.
I like it a lot. I like that's the element.
Right.
It's kind of creepy. Like that, I don't know.
Yeah, well, and it's got everybody afraid because they think the gods are showing up. They think Apollo's coming to life and murdering all the rich house's sons. Kind of a stuff. At the very end, we get this kind of hint of, "Ooh, look, there's some gladiators," and we see the woman who, was being abused towards the beginning, slave that was being abused towards the beginning of the issue, and we don't know what happened to her. It looks like she ended up in the gladiator pits. So we'll see what goes on with that. It basically, it's a detective story from like the first detective. They're in Rome. I mean, they're back in the day. I think it's fun. It's like I said, it's another 4-issue miniseries. I'm enjoying these kind of just, we get 4 issues, we get a little bit of a story, takes a break for a while, then comes back and tells us another one. That's cool.
I have to say I love Savage words and less things going on. I love Savage, that miniseries from Valiant. Yeah. Let's talk about Nero's face. Can we just talk about that situation that was going on in his face? The
boil? He's got a.
I'm like, why do we have our dear detective detect that detection?
Yeah. No, let's not. I don't want to keep looking at it. It's like some syphilis. It's like some syphilis pock or something. Right.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Honestly, I don't know if you felt the same way, but look at last season, this season. I feel like the illustrations, Juan Jose Rip's illustrations don't look the same. They look even more grotesque last season, like the way the face was drawn, the expressions were drawn. But then you look in this, it's not. I don't get the same feel. Like I feel like things are more rounded off, like the facial features. Nero's face looks rounder instead of more longer, like he's put on weight. I don't know if that's supposed to be acceptable. I don't know if that's supposed to be something that he was trying to show us or something. I don't know, but I was like, yeah, these characters look a little more hefty, like they gained some weight since last events. I don't know, and then also was different too as well, like you said earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't notice the difference. I'll have to go back and look because to me the noses look the same. I mean, there's things that immediately tell me who the artist is. So I'll have to go back and look. I guess I don't remember it well enough to see that there was that much of a difference in it and whatnot. And I'm with Damien. Damien's asking right now that he really wonders what makes Britannia a Valiant universe comic. What's the connection? I have no idea either. Other than we want to tell this kind of an era of story. We're Valiant, so we're calling it part of the Valiant universe because we don't know where else to put it. They don't have an imprint or something. I don't know. No idea. But I think it's cool. I'm looking forward to finding out more about her too. So our female gladiator that all the women in Rome are getting all excited about, which of course this is going to be a women against the patriarchy. It seems to me like, to some degree. So it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Probably I want to know about the Vestal Virgins. I want to know if Rubria is going to, if she's going to figure out a way to kind of talk Nero down out of maybe killing her.
Or all of them.
Seems very tyrannical.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like, these Romans, they're just very, very, very like tyrannical.
They're a bunch of guys. They're a bunch of pigs, right?
Yeah. I mean, that one guy, they opened up the comic to this guy saying he's going to take that woman, like Napoleon. What did he say? Like, I'm going to take you like, or something like that, or
yeah.
I'm glad she killed him like that. I was like, hell yeah. Right through the head. And then the one guy was like, he was just trying to take what's rightfully his.
What's rightfully his. Oh, no. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
not cool for sure. Let's see. I want to talk about this Black Mask comic.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Did you read this? Awesome. There's nothing there. #1 issue by Black Mask. I guess.
There's something there.
What's that?
There was something there.
Oh yeah, eyes wide open. Woo! So written by Patrick Kendall, art by Maria Lovett. I guess Patrick Kendall is one of the writers on We Can't Go Home. I guess if you read the back matter in this, and I didn't read that Black Mask comic, but I understand that that was fairly popular. And the other writer who helped write that is now working for Marvel. There's a back matter in here that he talks about the fact that his partner went and pressed the skin and went to all the cons and he got the jobs and this guy didn't, which he's fine with. I mean, it seems to me like whatever. But anyway, that's who the creators are. So this seems to be a story about a young adult, like pop star. She's famous in some sense. I mean, maybe she's like a Kardashian, that sort of a thing. I don't know that she actually does anything, but the paparazzi follow her around. She drops a stick of gum on the ground and it's some sort of pop news kind of thing. She goes to this party. It's a masquerade party. She's supposed to be wearing, her masquerade stuff. She's not really doing that because she's got like, I don't know, what was it? $200 lashes that she put on. She wasn't going to wreck them by wearing a mask or something like that. She says at the beginning of it. And the party's kind of a quasi, I don't know, or it ends up being a big old orgy is what it ends up being. And there's some other maybe mystical shenanigans go on. And she thinks she sees something. She wakes up the next night after the party. She's back home and she starts kind of hallucinating, it seems. In this, like she starts seeing people that are out of time or whatever, and the paparazzi catch her kind of losing her cool on the street because she thinks she sees something, and so there's these people who have videoed her like yelling at nothing kind of stuff. So she looks like So of course the rumors is she on too much drugs? Is she not on enough drugs? Does she have syphilis? What's her problem? Kind of a thing, and she's not sure. The one thing that leads us to believe that she's not going crazy, that something mystical did actually happen. There's a guy watching the news feed on his phone while he's doing the laundry. And he basically goes, or maybe she's just a dumb slut, the guy says. And those words kind of bounce around the laundromat. And you kind of hear there's potentially drums. There's the written drumming sound across the panels. And suddenly like a head is in the washing machine with his laundry with an extra eye on it. And he like freaks out and runs away. We don't know what happens to him, kind of a thing. And then at the very end of the issue, there seems to be a little ghost girl or something like that at the door. So there's stuff really happening, but I really, really liked it. What do you think of it, Rez?
Well, yeah, I definitely enjoyed some moments in there.
Yeah. Okay. So 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 2 pages in here that are 20 panel spread instead of the 9 panel spread. So that means this book must be like 1,000 times better than Batman, because Batman was only 9 panels. I'll show you this pages really quick so I don't get flagged, but it's a whole lot of party. So, yeah. And that's the not quite so intense stuff. Yeah. Yeah. The liquor cabinet, they go to, why don't you take me to,
liquor cabinet. Like, why don't you take me to a liquor cabinet?
Yeah, that joke didn't make it past me. So, yeah. But,
you caught it right where we was telling it, didn't you?
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely some nakedness in this. There's definitely some action going on as far as that goes. I really like
time.
Yeah, I really like the art style though. I mean, I like this kind of loose inks and whatnot. I like the choice of color that's used, and I like how the color's thrown on it. It has a very like if you were drawing fashions. right? It has a kind of an element that's kind of like that. It seems to me that visually, which I think really works because, of course, like I said, this is kind of a young adult. She's kind of a young adult pop star, so having that kind of fashion forward kind of an element to it, I think works really well because it, like I said, it's colored in splashes. Kind of a thing, kind of like you see fashion magazine if it's drawn, kind of a stuff. So.
I like the art a lot. Like, honestly, what happened was I read the sample to this, and so like the first half of the book I already read. I wouldn't like the story, but I actually I was captivated by this book. So I'm definitely intrigued.
Like I said, like here it shows she had these creepy stuff going on. These kind of like eyes start showing up, and this drumming and stuff that she keeps having happen to her. I didn't read the previews because I don't get enough Black Mass stuff to have seen that. I just kind of told myself I'm going to try another Black Mass book. This was the next new one up, so I figured, what the hell, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
The title definitely caught me. What?
Yeah.
There. So that's why I got it for sure.
Yeah, and here's the little strange ghost girl at the end, and you probably can't see it on there. Those things that maybe look like flies, they're actually like little eyeballs whirling around, kind of a thing. So I really, like I said, I really dug it, and I like the title in that eyeball like that. That's kind of cool too. So I had a lot of fun with it. I was pleasantly surprised. Finally, a Black Mask book that I could just be really happy with. Maybe that's because there's that 2 20-page grids in there. I don't know, but that may be part of it. But it was fun. It was fun to read. So
yeah, for sure.
Definitely for mature readers, though, or immature readers, I guess, in me and Rez's case, as we giggle through it. Funny. What else? What else do you want to talk about? What else did you read? Oh, Kill or Be Killed.
Oh, yes. By our dear Ed Brubaker.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a pretty decent read. It's not as heavy as last issue where we found out that he may be psychotic because of medications, but I still feel like we're still getting information that we need. Like, I did like this. I did really enjoy seeing that when he was going out for his kill, because he feels like kind of feels the demon around radiating, the energy radiating around him, so he knows that he needs to kill very soon. I like seeing that the guy got away. And the self-realization that him and his girl may not really make it, that it's not really real, that him and his new girl that are together.
Yeah, the old girlfriend. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because his life has gotten much more complicated because the last kill he did was in a basically a coffee shop in the bathroom, and he ran into the cops, and so now it's become this, and he shot at the cops. So New York City's kind of not in lockdown, but they've militarized a lot more. It's a lot more intense. So he can't just simply go out and easily shoot somebody he thinks is a bad person. So there's a lot of that aspect of it I liked because that was going on. One of the moments I really liked in this, I was kind of like, oh, when he goes back with his girlfriend and they're getting ready to to have some fun time, and he gets a whiff of his old girlfriend because she's in the closet. He's like, I almost felt like she was there because she was. He just never, he just never looked because the last issue, of course, was told through his ex-girlfriend's, kind of viewpoint, and she ends up trapped in his closet, while he's out there, having fun time with the new girlfriend. So I just thought that moment, like, oh God, kind of thing. That was pretty hilarious. That whole aspect of it. This is one of those books that's a lot about character, right? I mean, it's not like super amounts of stuff kind of crazy happens or whatever. But I really enjoy it. I don't know that our main character is likable. I don't know that he's 100% relatable, but for some reason you can just kind of get where he's at. I mean, never be in the situation he's in, but kind of him working out whatever, or that kind of stuff. I really like. Interesting conversation about his dad and his dad's art, or what his dad didn't consider art kind of thing. And it was really kind of cool too. The new girlfriend keeps thinking that he should take his dad's art to an art gallery because that's really kind of popular right now. That kind of sexy pulp pinup book kind of thing. And he's like, no, my dad wouldn't like that at all because my dad didn't consider this art. I mean, he still calls it porn. I don't think most of us. Oh, maybe we would. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I wouldn't call it porn. It's pinup art, but it's not. To me, it's not. It's not.
I wouldn't call it porn either. I like that. I like that she tried to kind of. Why don't you show these works off at a gallery or something? And he's kind of felt. I guess he felt some kind of way. I think he still has some unresolved feelings towards his dad.
Right.
Off himself, like he didn't really care for that. And the way they.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and looking at the comments, it's Ryan's saying that this Should Kill Be Killed felt like a lot like treading water. It's all characterization with very little actually happening, which is fair. I mean, because we're literally these two issues, this issue and the last issue, take place in almost the exact same time. It's just from two different vantage points. So clearly, timeline-wise, not a whole lot has happened because we just had two issues that literally cross each other, kind of a thing. But I don't know. I'm still really enjoying it. So, yeah, good stuff. Art, Sean Phillips' art just makes it brilliant too. So that's one of those books I can pick up. I just pick up because even if Ed wasn't writing it, the art is superior. So good stuff. Let's see. Did you finish this? Loose Ends?
Oh, I finished that. Let me go. I could not go without my comment.
It was the first thing I read. So when I got it, I'm like, oh, reading that, it's the end of it. So what's gonna happen? So
yeah.
So what do you think? Did it end well? Was this a good story?
I mean, it was really good. I mean, it ended like I thought maybe it was going to be her who got, who met her maker, but it was really it was. But let me tell you, I was sad. I was like, oh my God, I want her and Sunny to be able to walk off together in the sunset, and love each other. But yeah, it ended with a lot of tears and cigarettes and a lot of death. There were some moments in here where the action got really heavy, where we had that one crazy kooky character who was just killing everybody and their mama. I was shocked.
The ex-cop who's just going through just wrecking everybody, right? Well, I guess he's still a cop. He's just about ready to not be a cop anymore.
Yeah, I was confused. I'm like, why is he doing this exactly? Like, why is he like going so roid heavy? And
because he just likes killing people.
Yeah, it was just really nuts. I was like, this dude is. I like that crime boss though, like, cause how he came in there and he thought, oh, I'm just gonna get this guy.
Yeah.
He took him out and stabbed him right in the face.
Yep. Guy pulls a gun, sees a gun in his face, and he just lunges forward and splits him open across the face. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Reg. I like that Reg kind of, kind of two-faced. Like he kind of betrayed, Sunny, and at the end he kind of redeemed himself.
Right, because they were military buddies, and it's like, at the end of the day, you got to stick with your actual real people kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I'm totally getting a T-shirt though. You see the advertisements for the T-shirt?
Yeah, so I was thinking about that too. Yeah.
I was like, I wish they put that right there, because I wish they put that on the T-shirt.
Yes.
Probably.
Would be all over that if that was the T-shirt for sure. I really like the comic. I really like it. I love the art. It's really about the art, that how dynamic it is. This whole scene as this guy comes rushing in, this policeman, and just starts wrecking people. He knocks one guy out, kicks in another door, shoots another person. Just that's this poorly lit, eerie green lit room, and with a violet gunshots go off, it's this sharp orange, kind of stuff. I mean, there he's blowing a guy's brains out. But it's just, I don't know, it's just really gorgeous kind of stuff and whatnot. You know, sometimes there's these grids where it's gridded to slow the pace down, but clearly you know, this is all one picture. But then because they put it in the frames, it helps slow it down to give you time to really, you know, to check the scene out, you know, smart paneling as far as that goes, as far as, you know, pace control. And then it picks up again and gets crazy as she, you know, dog piles on to the guy and tries to take him out, which of course doesn't work. And of course, every time a gunshot goes off, it's that blazing orange kind of stuff. As you get, but these like thin little, you know, strips. I love the fact that she was wearing that necklace. That's actually a pair of brass knuckles, and she actually shoves her hand through it, rips the necklace off of her neck, and punches him with the brass knuckle.
I like that she's always barefoot, because this is really a Southern thing, you know.
Yeah,
I'm always barefoot, so I was like, that's fun thing. I like that.
Yeah. She drops those off right there. She pulls off of her necklace off, and it's got the brass knuckles, you know. And she right here is leaping. There's her feet, you know. So you can see it. I love this. This is like straight out pro wrestling, right? Leap in the air, big, and he is, you know, this guy, you know, the way they've got him drawn, he is just completely roided out, you know.
Yeah.
And then
she's like, ow,
busts him in the face. Just awesome. And then it just gets nuts, right? I mean, so the art is just going bonkers because we're in the middle of just like a crazy fight where, you know, everybody's high on something. You know, things are just going nuts. So I just love how out of control the art gets. You know, the coloring gets absolutely mad. The art is mad there, kind of a thing. You know, and then it settles back down a little bit, you know, except he, of course, is still just completely write out. But just some brilliant, you know, art and color. I just really, really like it.
And you know what's crazy? How Sonny died by his own knife. Like he had the knife when he entered into the hotel room, right?
Yep.
But when the explosion happened, he fell on his own knife. So it's kind of very Shakespearean in a way.
Right. It definitely is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it ends with the one character surviving it, you know, wandering off down the street after the whole thing's done. So literally kind of into a sunset because she walks past it instead of walking into the sunset, right?
Yeah.
Because painted on the wall is a sunset, and instead of walking into the sunset, you know, your character normally at the end of the movie or whatever, walks in the sunset. No, because this didn't end really pleasantly. You know, it's her, you know, messed up, crying, walking through the wet pavement away from the sunset. So yeah.
I would love to see a second season of this. It's like I love this, everything about it. Like I loved it, and I'm going to track down the variant. The
variants, right? Well, I don't know what they would do for a second, but I would love to see these guys do another book like this, especially the artist, the artist and the colorist.
Oh, yeah, that'd be mandatory. Like this.
Oh. You know, I you know, this is a little bit of the you know, kind of work in progress. You know, how they kind of set up their thumbnails and whatnot. As a, you know, a geek of this level of comics, I really enjoyed looking at this too, just to kind of get an idea of, you know, how they, you know, placed it, what the colors were, what were they really looking for. I like that stuff too. So, but yeah, that cover image, without even knowing what the hell the book was about, that cover image so sold me on this book alone, and it didn't disappoint. I really liked it. And then once again, I question where the hell was I at in 2011 not to have seen this when it was released under 12 Gauge Comics. So I'm glad they reprinted it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you know what's funny? I imagine those who did read it back in 2011 when it first debuted and only got those first 3 issues, never got that 4th.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh.
So they've been waiting for about almost close to a decade to get the rest.
Well, that and I'm sure at the time they were going, you guys all got to read this thing, and then nobody did, and so it didn't sell, and so you didn't get the end of the comic.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
But you know, it kind of gives you hope that things will be finished eventually. Like you may see something end and it comes back. Like it happens all the time with things, you know.
Yeah, if you're still around to know it's there, that's for sure. For sure. I'm going to quickly talk about Black Road. This is issue number 9. One more issue. It's going to end at issue 10. In this issue, Magnus the Black has cut down this bishop that has made this place in northern England. He's cut the guy down and taken his sword. He's got this holy relic sword that supposedly has the blood of Christ on it. And he goes, he's like, challenges this whole crowd of people. It's like, see, I mean, if this was a holy relic and it had the blood of Jesus on it, wouldn't you Christians be able to cut me down? Anyone else want to try? 2 or 3 guards step up and he gives the sword to each one of them and basically cuts them all down too. And basically crushes everybody there. I mean, he doesn't kill everybody, but he crushes everybody's will who had belief in this. I mean, but he wants to believe. I mean, he keeps giving the sword to people going, here, fight with me. If you win and kill me, just tell me that I'm going to die and go to heaven with and see my wife again. Cause that's really all that matters to me. He really is kind of, sees the appeal to Christianity because of that aspect, going back and seeing your loved ones after the fact, kind of a thing. And none of them will do that. They're like, oh no, you're a pagan, your wife's a whore, kind of thing. And he just keeps butchering them all, kind of a thing. So he's kind of an outcast all around. The Christians don't want him. The pagans don't really like him because he's not anti-Christian. He's just anti-horrible people doing horrible stuff, kind of stuff. So he wrecks this place basically, and then leaves and interrupts in chaos because the Christians were using some of the pagans as slaves. So the whole fort and and cathedral there in the north is going down, and he's off to find this slave girl that he started this whole journey with. She's kind of hiding off someplace, and that's the last issue is going to end that part of the story. But I really have enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit. It was an interesting kind of a telling, and so yeah, one more issue. I would suggest, if you're curious, check out that first trade when it comes out. If it's not out already, it might be. But I think it's worth the read. So. Any other books you want to talk about, Riz?
Yeah. Let's see. So many good books. This one, I like this one. The Visitor and How and Why He Stayed.
Yep. Issue number what? 3? Yep.
Number 5. So I like this one because I felt like it was a nod at Scientology. And him taking him down. I was like, Scientology, take down Ron L. Hubbard. But we see the Visitor step in for Hellboy, because Hellboy right now is, I guess, he's still in training in his mind. He's not ready. He's not up to the task on doing something of this veracity, this large event. So he steps in. He says, before this, I notify Hellboy or somehow lean him into investigating this cult, I'm going to have to go ahead and do this. And so he's, it starts off with him and seeing an announcement on TV, on the news, about this woman, coming back from, thought that her to being dead. She was disappearing for a while. He disappeared for a while. So he goes, investigates, and he realizes that she actually has started up a cult, a center of some sort, where they get levels based off the money that they contribute. This is all, again, Scientology. Pretty much Scientology. So I guess they recruit enough members to where, I guess, they're gonna try to revive their god, and he defeats them. So I liked it. It was short and sweet, very quick read, but
yeah. So it starts out that they see it on television. He's like doing some work or whatever, and his wife is watching the news, and she's like, "Uh-oh, that person's back or whatever." So clearly, his wife, who knows he's an alien, she obviously knows what his work is too, and knows it well enough to know, because she's like, "Hey, didn't your boy take care of that?" And he's like, "Yeah, because she's from Mexico, and like in the 1940s, they is when she first came to the United States, and Hellboy, supposedly defeated, and they burnt her church down. Then she is teaching people how to see the world in mathematics and speak in mathematics, because that's to see the true world as it truly is. Well, she's basically teaching people, how to invest and chant in these particular ways that's going to set up this chain of events to bring the old gods back, basically, is what she's trying to do. And they thought she had died in this fire. She's come back because the cycles of the planets are in the right alignment. She gets enough people buying into her cult, and then she can release this thing. And yeah, he ends up shutting them down. It was lots of fun. I just think it's hilarious. Like I said, me and Perez were so down on the first issue of this, because the whole title, The Visitor, how and why he stayed. In that first issue, it felt like everything was answered. And me and Rez were both like, well, so this is kind of bullshit. What's the rest of this? What's the rest of this 4 issues going to be, where the first issue told us why and how, and who cares after that kind of thing. And the issues since then have been really fun. Like I said, him having this kind of family life, having this wife, and he's not, in this issue, we kind of get, that he's not totally sold on. I mean, it sounds to me like the aliens that are he was supposed to come down here and just deal with everything with an iron fist. I mean, it was supposed to be scourge Hellboy, kill him off, raise whatever they need to, kind of thing. And now he's kind of, because in this, when he defeats the woman, he basically zaps her in some way, gives like a psychic neural feedback. Well, all the people that are part of the cult that are at this university all get their brains turned to pudding. The ones that it doesn't kill outright, they're all kind of, drooling and comatose for the rest of their life, basically. And he's not really comfortable with that, which seems to be a change for him. So it's like he is becoming more human the longer he hangs with humanity, because the aliens that when they got dropped down, it pretty much sounded like they're supposed to rule with an iron fist. Not rule, but just take care of the problem. Just kill Hellboy. Doesn't matter that he's a baby. Kill him dead, because he's going to be bad news. And he's a little soft. So that may cause problems or be a good thing, kind of thing. So it's fun. It's a fun book.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And I'm, definitely one of those books that I'm, and although I'm not keen on the illustrations as much as I want to be.
Right.
Story makes up for it. Like I honestly enjoy this more than I did.
You cut out. Which book?
Oh, I thought she was like, oh no. I was like, Rise of the Black Flame.
Oh, right. Well, they're kind of, in a way, completely different kinds of stories. The Rise of the Black Flame is more of a non-personal, here lie monster kind of a story, whereas this, we get to invest in a character in it. I think that is more appealing. So I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I did really, really enjoy Rise of the Black Flame. I read all except issue 4 for some reason. I couldn't find it anywhere. But I enjoyed that. But I just really, really like this. I like the whole act. He's married to this woman, and she knows he's an alien. Something about it. Just really, I like it.
Yep. Same here. Sure, it's cool. Definitely. I read Hadrian's Wall, issue number 6. Finally. What's that?
I almost thought that was the last issue, but I remember the solicits was for issue number 8 being the last one, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm really enjoying this. We get more into the rebels, what they're about. There's by the end of this, we find out kind of the one of the rebels really after kind of a thing. So I figure the next 2 issues to end it, we're going to have to kind of deal with what they're really after, kind of a thing. Because this whole concept of the reality that we're in, there's this outposts, because man has figured out how to kind of travel deeper into space. So it's those people who live in the outposts versus the people on Earth. The people on Earth thinks that they should be in charge of everything and the governance of everything. And the people who live out in the middle of nowhere are kind of tired of Earth controlling their stuff. So Revolutionary War, in that kind of sense, we're on the verge of kind of a thing, a retelling of that. But has been this murder go on, and we're discovering more aspects about the guy that was murdered. The guy that's investigating it, his ex-wife is married to the guy who was murdered. So there's some complex stuff going on there. So our detective, the rebels need justice. They're gonna, and they were in cahoots with the guy that was murdered. He was their go-between guy, and so they want justice. So somebody's getting thrown out the airlock. Somebody's gonna die. that's going to be the ex-wife. Of course, our detective is still in love with the ex-wife, so it really doesn't want her to get thrown out. So he is being basically given the amount of time it takes this probe that's down digging something up out of this planet. He's been given that amount of time to figure out who the murderer is if it's not her. Most things point to her being the murderer, but there's no like hard evidence that it's her yet. So he's now in a scramble to try and find somebody else that's responsible for this, because if she can't find anybody else, his wife's going out the airlock. So, but it's really great. I really enjoy it. The art is great. The Ria's art, it's the same guy who did the art on Cowl. I just really like that style of artwork. So it's been really cool. His artwork, kind of dark and stuff, really, and moody, really works good when you spend all of your time on a spaceship. And it's the kind of spaceship that's much closer to an Aliens, the Alien movies spaceship, where everything's kind of dark and weirdly lit, as opposed to Star Trek, where everything's so bright and cheery that, a monster couldn't hide in a corner anywhere kind of thing. This is, much more kind of a dark and oppressive, out in deep space kind of a feel to it. And I really like all those aspects of it. So.
And all 4 of those guys were on Cal, weren't
yes.
they?
Yeah. It's the same group of guys. Same group of guys. So, but yeah, it's good. I mean, I really, like I said, I really like it. It's got all the same quality, same kind of quality kind of stuff that Cal had. Instead of being, kind of pitching superheroes, it's, a space kind of a thing, space murder mystery. So, yeah. Any more you want to talk about, Rez?
Yep. I got a few more.
Because me and Rez, we read all the books. Any book that everybody else didn't read, we read them all. So I think this week between me and Rez, we got about 60 some books. So yeah, pretty disgusting.
I know. I'm like getting a whole lot these last few weeks. I'm like, goodness gracious, what's wrong with my pull? Like, why is it so huge?
Yes.
all those delayed titles are finally catching up to.
Well, that's what's happening. All my independent books are now coming out in the same 2 weeks is what's happening. So yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about Grave Lilies from Z. It's a little sci-fi tale of these that have various powers of some sort, and like I guess they were sleeping. They go to sleep for a little while to put in I guess cryonic chambers, and they're put to sleep, and then they wake up. I don't know what the truth of their origins are, but in this issue, figure out who they are. They run into this one woman who's trying to assist them in a way where they find out who they are. She gives them a phone and some change to get some food. The phone has coordinates, GPS coordinates, so that they can kind of discover where they came from and why they have these powers. And see, there's another plot in here where there's apparently a sixth one of these, and it's a guy. So he actually kills off some of the agents that try to come out and help him. I don't know what's going to happen with that storyline, but I wonder if it's going to meet up with them and kind of all of them discover who they are. But yeah, they're separated from that one individual. He doesn't know anything about them or them anything of him, I believe. It's a really good tale. Like, I mean, the fact that it's written about 5 young girls, you would think it's going to be more younger. Well, I really like the sci-fi element of it. I like seeing that there's one kind of CIA, FBI to chase them and find out where they are and deactivate them before they find out who they are. So there's some kind of secret about their origins. But of course, we don't know what their true nature is just yet. So that's that's what's keeping you pulling this title, is not knowing and wanting to know.
Right.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
And what imprint? What imprint is that?
Z2 Comics.
Z2 Comics. Okay. Cool.
I don't pull a lot of their comics at all whatsoever. So always intrigued at their offerings, and anything Cullen Bunn's usually attached to, I'm going to give a try. Sure.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that, because typically I kind of keep an eye out for what he's writing too. So
very, very well written. I mean, it's not like it's something like, oh, you know how he may be phoning it in or something like that, or he's bringing, I guess, towards that Like you feel like he's actually writing this, and it's like I said, really good. I'm
Cool.
enjoying it.
Well, the only other book that I got to, I have a whole stack that I still haven't read, but the only other book I read was Bitch Planet. This is issue number 10, finally back for an issue. God knows when the next issue will come, kind of thing. This one ends on a crazy ass cliffhanger. So the ladies of Bitch Planet slowly taking over the planet that they're on, the prison planet. There's been riots. They've found the woman who briefly ran or was president at one point, who's been locked away. Everybody thought she was dead, but she'd been on this planet the entire time. They are taking control over the planet. And while they're doing that, unbeknownst to everybody else, like on Earth or wherever, there is a coordinated kind of a protest / attack on the patriarchy, the government, and what's in place. Women all around as the comics went along, they keep watching, they're checking their clocks while this stuff's going on. It's kind of a presidential speech kind of a thing, except it's not really a president anymore. It's father. They're all called fathers. These people are in charge, and the head father is getting ready to give this speech and whatnot. And they're at this Coliseum, and these women pull out of their purses. They pull out red lipstick. They paint their faces, their lips bright red, and have like kind of a running thing down their lip. And they pull out guns. They step out into the stadium. They start shooting guns into the air, and they're basically yell, "We haven't forgotten. We remember." Kind of thing. This is clearly some sort of an important date in the grand scheme of things. People freak out. The security start to rush, the fathers away and their families. They're getting up, onto like a helicopter to fly away to safety. And one of the daughters that's on the helicopter, that's daughter of one of the fathers, puts on her own lipstick and pulls out a gun and blasts the head father through the head. So clearly they've gone beyond protest to to the actual fight. And so I don't know what's going to happen next. It'll be all kinds of crazy. I still really enjoyed the book a lot. I wish it came out more consistently. Looking forward to, there's going to be some spin-off stuff. Looking forward to see how other people address the world and what it has and stuff. Yes, there's strong feminism throughout the book. You can take that for as strong or as weak as what you want it to be. I think the back matter is heavily that, so you don't have to invest in that if you're mildly offended or whatever by the fact that these people want equal rights for everybody. But the comic is smartly written. It takes a long time for the book to come out, but it's smartly written. It's smartly produced. The art is smart in it, I think. You have these great moments where they capture a lot of facial expressions of kind of what's going on behind people, and stuff that all makes for really, really good comics. And I enjoy that. I just wish it came out more often. It would be a better story if it came out more consistently. Reading it in trades is clearly the way to read it. If you were going to suddenly pick it up. So, but good stuff.
Yeah, I only read that one in trade as well.
Yeah. It's the smart way to read it. I like to say you don't get all that back matter stuff, which is, good or bad, I guess. There's a bigger reward to be able to sit down and read the whole thing at once than an issue comes out once every 6 months or whatever it is, kind of a thing and stuff. But
yeah.
And that's it. That's it for the books that I have read. You got any others you want to talk about?
Yeah, I have a few more, just a few. Issue 9 from IDW. It's about this young boy who get together and form a group with some students in his school to take down this drug dealing mob boss of a crime syndicate. and he's just, this whole issue is pretty much showing this young man. He's a I guess what people would geek or something. You know, he's very weak and he's not very physically, you know, anything. So he somehow befriends this one guy, this jock, who's also like, I guess, a classmate. The guy never noticed him and start talking, you know, introducing him to him, say, hey, you know, I know how it is being the new guy. And the guy was like, I've been here for 6 years. I'm not the new guy. And somehow, I guess they just struck up a conversation. He starts telling him, hey, do you remember what happened to Father Callahan? And he's like, it's Father Sean or something, but he's like, you know, remember what happened to Father Sean or Father Callahan? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, well, I want to do something about it. I want to take down the guy who did it. I know who did it. And so we see pretty much like, you know, more and more kids being recruited into this Night Owl Society. And so they go to the guy's warehouse where they know there's going to be a shipment dropped off, and they try to destroy the shipment, but the shipment's actually vending machines, because the mob boss is actually pretty smart, and he funnels his money in a different way. So there's like all these vending machines, and they're like, oh my God, I forgot this is actual legitimate business. So yeah, he has a shipment of actual things that he needs for his business here. They just take all the vending machines, they put it together, and they write down, we know what you did, and we're gonna come after you, Night Owl Society. So they sign it, they tag it, and then we see the little boy go home, because we learned from earlier that the mob boss is very, very, he has to have his family breakfast, family dinner every day. Like, he's on the diet. He knows when he has it, so he does not let anything deter him from having this family connection with his family. So we see, when these kids finish tagging inside this warehouse of this crime syndicate boss, we see the boy rush home, get out of his clothes, go to the dinner table, and then guess who pops in and walks into the house and says, hi family, I'm home. The crime syndicate boss.
Oh geez.
Yes. So the boy's trying to take down his father. I was like,
nice.
What? Yeah, I mean, overall, like, I felt like when I was reading this, I was like, okay, come on, it's dragging on. Okay, I know the boy wants to recruit people. He wants to take down whoever killed Father Sean. He's explaining to each person, hey, you remember what happened to Sean? That's because you keep reading this. You keep reading. You remember what happened to Father Sean? And you're like, okay, I'm tired. When's something gonna happen? And then at the end, that little nugget came out, and I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm continued on with this, because I'm like, I'm in for the ride for sure. Like,
yeah.
There.
Fun.
Yeah. So that was definitely a hit for me this week. Talk about is Hookjaw, the last issue. So glad to see this wrap up. I actually, even though I fell behind on it, I caught up on it, and then I caught up on it, and I got to read this, and I was like, I really enjoyed the ending. I did. Well, actually, the last 2 issues I enjoyed. So I didn't read it on time, but the group of people who originally started off actually trying to, I guess, study the white sharks in that area. They were trying to figure out the migrations of these sharks and their feeding habits and stuff like that. You know, they went through this whole thing where they were by pirates, held for ransom, and then they were kidnapped by the CIA, and then they had this interference by the Navy SEALs. And it was just a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on. Well, in this last issue, we finally see it all come to a head, where a director, or a woman high in charge, is kidnapped, taken by these Ethiopian pirates, and or I think Somalian pirates. I can't remember exactly which one, but they're taken in by these pirates. So he's taken hostage along with the one girl, and her boss, the one who cusses that they bleep out, that was really pissing me off.
Right.
They had the whole time, the pirates, they had her the whole time, and they had her on a hook, ready to feed her to the sharks if they didn't find out what was in this shipment that the CIA wanted so bad. So when the CIA director didn't want to tell them what was in there, they actually killed that woman. They killed the woman who cursed.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. And not only that, but the one of the boys who actually was cousins with the pirates, he pushed off this hippie guy into the water, and he got eaten by a shark. I was like, everybody was dying in these last 2 issues. Like, people were just dying left and right. Pretty much everyone died except this one girl, the one new scientist. I was like, wow. Like, everyone just met their maker. Like, I still don't understand exactly why this shark talks, knows what meat is good meat, or what meat is okay meat, or bad meat, but still will eat. You know? But yeah, I read it. I you know, you guys know I have an affinity for Titan Comics, so I continue supporting them. This wasn't the best I have read in the last few months. I think the best has been White, and second.
Now, are you getting it because it's a Titan comic, or are you getting it because it's a shark comic?
You know, mainly because it's a shark comic. Titan comes second because, you know, I really like their lineup, but I really like Shark Tales. Like,
yeah,
and the hook job thing was really intriguing to me. I just wish it was a little bit better. Like, I think that they took out all the bleeps in there, and then she's always going on these existential rants about how, you know, how she felt about life and was life really life, and it just made no sense really. It just didn't fit in really well. It made her seem really off and kooky.
Trying to make the comic deep, you know.
Yeah.
So,
it was like,
so it's not just a comic about a shark eating people.
Yeah, she would just literally break out in random sonnets and stuff, and like, and soliloquies, and start talking about how it's really meant to be this way. And, you know, I feel like I had this one recurring dream where I'm waking up and I'm gasping, and I know I feel something nudging at me and tapping at me, but I don't fight it. You know, I'm like, okay, girl, okay. Yeah. That's that shark nudging at you, girl.
It's like, what are you on? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, shot, end it, gone, done.
Cool.
Some other honorable mentions that I read and I enjoyed. Much to discuss about them. Zombin by Titan One Studios, issue number 1. It's a cute little tale of a zombie boy. Some kind of event happened called I think, is it called a Zombalix or Zombie Apocalypse or something?
Okay.
Something, you know, where some kind of event happened and then people died, but this one boy did not actually die. Can't say it. But yeah, that happened. And yeah, he just this girl next door, because he has to move because he's a zombie, he's the age, and you know, his parents moved to one place, and so the neighbors come over to greet themselves, and the girl, they have a young girl, she gets to know him, and then they go, and for some reason I don't know why, but they decide to go exploring, but on a restricted military base. And the boy gets, you know, they see a monster trapped behind, you know, one of the, I guess, the parts of the base and stuff like that they're not supposed to be at. And he somehow falls, and then something goes right through him, and he's still alive. And she's like, oh. And then that was pretty much it. I'm like, okay, well.
Surprise. Yeah. Well, come on, as a kid, if there's a, you know, big old military base someplace that says "do not enter," that just screams that's where you're gonna go.
Yeah, you're right. I can see my kids running straight for it.
It would be the first place I would go to.
And let's see, other honorable mentions: Colossi, issue number 2 by Vault Comics. This was a really, really decent read. It's about these individuals, these passengers of this one little shuttle that have traveled from wherever they have traveled to this regular size world. So they're like Thumbelina size, but they are now in the cut left and right. One in particular is this one boy who was on the shuttle being transported, but he never woke up. He just been like comatose this whole entire time. And so when this one old man of a toy shop that they're located in, he reaches in the back into the mouse hole. When he hears noises, he reaches in there when a can drops into the mouse opening, and he reaches in and he actually grabs the little boy and or the miniature sized micro boy. He grabs him and he's like, oh, he thinks it's a toy. He's like, wow, they're making toys really nice these days. So much detail. He says, they didn't do this back in my day. He's talking to himself, and then he's about to go in with a little tweezer, start poking in this little boy.
Oh.
The other little, yeah, I know, right? The other Thumbelinas stop him before that happens. And he gets closer to the little Thumbelina boy, and the little boy breathes out something out of his mouth into the, and then a man decides to call someone and tells them, he calls his doctor, says, hey, I need you to come check on me. Then he takes her by the mouth, breathes whatever that boy breathed in his mouth, and then he breathes into the doctor's mouth. She passes out, and it looks like she dies, like he kills her, and then she just wakes up and then leaves. And then he calls someone else to come and pick up their toy that he repaired. And then before he gets to do that to that guy, the guy gets kind of creeped out a little bit, and he leaves with the dollhouse that the little Thumbelina people ran into. That Thumbelina house to his house for his little girl, and those little people are in there. But that little boy that breathed the essence into that man's mouth is still at that man's shop. So I don't know what that little thing does, what that little boy does, why he's breathing things in people's mouths, and what that essentially does. But pretty intriguing. I don't know what it is. What this, I just like it because it seemed like it was going to be a sci-fi tale, but it just turned into like something entirely different.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And I guess last but not least, I guess I can mention this one. Namwolf by yes, Namwolf by Albatross Funny Books. This is written by Fabian and illustrated, and I guess by Logan Faber. Faber. I can't talk today.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only person that kills people's names. So,
but yeah, he illustrates this. But you would think it would be Eric Powell because he does everything under Albatross Funny Books. But no, it's this guy. Yeah, it's about a young guy who is very young. He decides to go sign up to go to war at Vietnam, and he goes out there, and his team, and he just somehow turns into a werewolf and starts like slaughtering people. And his team is, they're scared. They try to kill him, and he stops them from killing him. And then he, this obviously happened during the full moon. So then he transforms back into the human form, and his team are like, they had him at gunpoint, and they put him in a cell, and they're questioning him like, what's going on? Why are you a werewolf? Like we kind of left off at that point. It was short and sweet of a read, but I think it's going to be really nice. I think it'll be really enjoyable because I like the illustrations a lot too. Definitely different than what you usually see with Eric Powell,
Yeah, yeah.
You see the guy turning into a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if America only had more werewolves when we were over there, we might have done better. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I read Aliens, and I read Smoketown too. From Aliens was pretty decent. Like I really liked it. I love James Sicko's illustrations, but it's essentially, I think all Alien stories are the same. I mean, we have salvagers going on the ship. We have people exploring the space. They touch the wrong thing, and then these xenomorphs come out and start killing everybody, and nobody survives. I think that's going to be essentially what that's going to be about. And Smoketown is about a guy, there's a girl killing her husband who came back from war, but this one is all about him and how he was trying to adjust being back from war. Apparently he got very intimate and grew very close to there and her son, and the woman apparently was Al Qaeda the whole time, and her son was wearing a suicide bomb, and he blew up a lot of people and killed people, and he's seen her and her son die, so it just really wrecked him. And so come home, people just look at him differently. They feel like he's just really strange and weird, very empty in the way he looks at people. They say that they feel like he's looking at them as if they're already dead. And I guess his boss sees some value in him. He decides to, instead of have him working as foreman on the ground doing things in the factory, he has him to have a little more action, and he has him going after people who steal merchandise from him. So yeah, that was what this one told. We see the guy is pretty messed up mentally, and he's going through a lot, and we see how he's dealing with his young new family. That's it.
Cool.
Mhm.
All kinds of books the rest of us don't read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Right on. Big week. It was even a big week. It was even a big week for Mike.
Yes, because I debated Namwolf and the Owl Society, but I just had purchased too many already. So
Yeah. I think both of those would have been good reads to pick up.
Yep. Big week. Lots of great books. A few books I wasn't too excited about, but as a whole, a successful week of comics. Anything else we want to talk about?
Nope.
I don't know any independent type news. I'm horrible at that. There really isn't.
Say about who the Alex Campy book that's coming out very soon.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's coming.
Yeah, a Dark Horse one. Mm-hmm.
Overlooking that book because it's obviously Dark Horse, and I don't know, Dark Horse doesn't really advertise a lot of their books like they should. I think, not a lot,
Yeah, their only true advertisements I think that they do is their Dark Horse Presents, where you get like bits and pieces of what would be like a 0 issue before a series starts. Lots of times you'll get stuff there, but that's about the extent of it. That's for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that Alex Campy book because Mayday was just knocked my socks off. I don't wear socks, but it knocked them off.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm looking forward to this. I like Chris Cross as the artist. I like his artwork. Curious to see him do something besides superhero work. So, yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
You check out the solicits for the one I just passed for. Actually, it's probably still right now. It's still available. But Cathargo, the hardcovers, that Humanoid Deluxe edition.
Right.
I don't know if you read. I know. I thought you were into Cathargo. That was like a mistake.
Have not read. Okay. Yeah, I haven't read any of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week is new comic or free comic book day.
That's right. Free comic book.
The Kaiser Soze book is coming out.
Yeah. A free comic book day. A town next to mine, they're in the downtown on like the main street. There's a little like grocery market, and they have comic books in the grocery market, and they're doing free comic book day. I saw. So
all right.
So I will. Yeah, heck yeah. I'm gonna hit. I mean, just to see what's there and introduce myself and see who's selling comics in my neck of the woods, because that'll be interesting. I mean, it looks like they've got a bunch of comics in the window and stuff too. So I don't know. We'll see just how serious they are about selling comics. But I was pretty curious that there's a grocery store selling comic books. So
yeah, it's like old.
What was that?
I was like real old school too. I like that.
I will lose it. Your tattoo one.
Yeah, I just disappeared. I think I wonder if this is part of that they kind of moved and expanded. I'm not sure. Or the grocery store decided, you know what, we'll take it over, kind of thing. I'm hoping it's not still that dude.
Yeah.
Because I mean, kudos for him. He's having a good time, but it's not a business. That's I don't know. Yeah. It would be like if I opened my front door and say, "Hey, you can come and buy some comic books from me." I mean, that's kind of what it would.
You could look at them. I'm not really selling them because.
Right. So I don't know. I'm hoping that's not the case. But like I said, the advertising is for comic book day, so I'll show up on that Saturday and see what there is and whatnot, and buy a gallon of milk. I will completely lose my shit though if they have a spinner rack with comic books on it. I'll completely lose it because I'll be like, dropping back to being a 7-year-old again. So that'd be freaky. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say at 10 years old, I went down to the Save You More grocery store to pick up my groceries, and then I finally found the drug store that would sell all the comics. So
yeah. Back in the beginning, back in the old spinner racks, where I didn't even realize the comics actually came out in order.
Yeah.
like, really? What? I just buy, that looks cool. I just buy whatever off the shelf, and then suddenly realized that you could buy 2 in a row and they told a story. Wow, I was completely lost. So mind blowing.
Yeah.
What's that?
Have you come through the new previews yet?
I mean, I've already ordered my comics. I don't get the actual preview catalog, so
Okay.
I haven't gone and perused that far out yet to look to see what all's coming out. I'm trying to dial back on new stuff. It's not working too well, but
Oh yeah, same here. I'm trying my damnedest, but
yeah, I don't know. After this last week of reading some Batman stuff and some Superman stuff, some of those titles that I'm picking up are going to go. I'm kind of disenfranchised with them. I'm done.
yeah, I had this last list. I think I dropped a lot of DC stuff and Marvel stuff because I'm like, I just can't do it anymore. Like, it's not giving my warm and fuzzy. So I gotta.
Sure. Well, the superhero thing really isn't your bag, so that makes perfect sense. Yeah. I just keep hanging on. I like superheroes, so I'll keep picking up some superhero books. But I am more intrigued by the other independent stuff, that's for sure. Okay, well, we're just kind of rambling now, so we're gonna call it a night and come back next week. Come back next week, Mike.
I will indeed.
Please.
Awesome. Okay, so with that, thank you all for tuning in, watching the show. Those of you that hung with us the whole time, always appreciate it. Those that watch afterwards, that's appreciated too. Leave some comments. Let us know what we didn't read. I can't imagine what there was this week that between the three of us we did not pick up, but there must be something. What did we miss? What did we miss that was just the greatest book that we all should have picked up and we didn't? Let us know. But anyway, have a great night, and we'll see you back next week, I'm sure.